Okay, we, as mentioned, the class is being recorded, and I'm going to share my screen in a short while. All right. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. Once again, I want to welcome us to today's class, and I pray that the blessings of the Lord will grant us the understanding needed to cope and to be able to reflect on what we have done. Before we begin the class, I want to welcome all those who did not attend the class as well. May I know those of us that are coming for the first time in this course and you were not around last week? Can we please, if you are available, you are free to unmute and to tell us that yes, this is my first time. When I mean first time, you did not attend 911. This is your first time in 912. Do we have anybody? Please, you are free. If you have,
Yes.
you are free
Yes,
to
sir.
speak to the class.
Yes, sir.
All right.
My first time, sir.
Okay. All right. So you are welcome.
My first time, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. And we had an assignment last week.
Yes, sir. This is my first time.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. My name is Shalama Itami, and I'll be taking you through the course alongside with Dr. Anokro. I'm also a professor in the field of software engineering, Babcock University. So it will be a pleasure for us to deliberate together to be able to solve the riddles of advanced research design. And I want us to really pay attention to the information that I will share in the next less than 1 minute. First assignment was given last week. Those who have done it have submitted. Someone, I think I can't, okay, let me just flip back to the name I saw on my email so that you know that I track every record that came in or that comes in. The name I saw, okay, Olushada Olubukonla. Right, please take note that I saw your link of information sent to my email and it was deleted immediately. Assignments are not acceptable on my email, and the reason is not far fetched from the fact that emails comes in every minute, every second, and there is no way I can keep track of your assignment via email. And another very important reasons why we don't use email for assignment is on the concept of reference. If you did not get your result and you want to prove to me that you were in class, there is no way emails can be used to track your document. Usually we don't delete or eliminate records from the database of the Google Classroom until your results are released. Once your results are released, then I have the right to eliminate after about a year or thereafter. So if you are bent on submitting your document to my email, you will not get results. And that's why I keep telling you, please go to the PG school. Until they answer you, there's nothing we can do. There is no alternative. Until you get it rectified by then, let them know that that's what the teacher says. And if they want to do the recording themselves, they can take over that. But that is the process. The moment you have admission, you should have emails from the institutions that will guide you on the way you receive your lectures and the way your lectures are documented. Another very important point is to avoid immigrants, to avoid strangers, to avoid unintended people. We're also told that the university gave people come to class without admission letter. If you don't have email, email should be part of the requirement for your admission. That will eliminate the regular student from the uninvited guest. Okay, so these are the 3 points why we insist that lectures must be through official email address by the university. All right, I would like to take a few questions before we go into the reflections of what we did last week. Assignment will be weekly. You will have another one today, which will also be due by Saturday night, as we had it yesterday. So, usually it's something that will prompt you. If you have set your email properly, you see your incoming directories, and you know you have assignment. We don't. This is a postgraduate class. Nobody announced to you of what you yourself should know. So take note. Nobody will announce to you except if one of you wants to do that, which I have noticed on the WhatsApp that somebody has consistently been spoon feeding you. I will use that word. You will not be done. That will not be done during your exam. So if you want to lean on that, you are welcome to lean on that. Let's take few questions, few contributions or problems before we go into reflections of what we did last week. Dr. Anokru, are you around? Good morning. All right. Do we have any question? Please, if you have a question, you can unmute. I saw some people typing messages on the text editor. Well, it's not allowed except you have information. Your network is not good. But telling us that you are in class, I'm going to share the attendance of the class with you after today. We have an automatic attendance measurement that is going on, automatic attendance
Tracker.
capture that is going on. So you don't need to type your name on the text editor that you are on class or you are in class, or that you have a matriculation number of what you have just displayed. Well, technology has gone beyond that. Please just listen, contribute, and ensure that you make maximum use of the time that we have. That's all we need for today. Mr. Fidelis, good morning. You have the floor.
Good morning, Prof.
Morning,
Good
sir.
morning, colleagues. Prof, I just need a clarification.
Go ahead.
I know last week you actually said this class was going to be physical. And
No,
incidentally,
I
last
didn't.
night,
I did not say so. I didn't. I never mentioned physical class.
oh, okay,
Maybe
okay,
you heard it somewhere, but those who were here would never have heard that from me.
okay, that's fine.
It's not physical, except the
Okay, thank you.
and I mentioned on the WhatsApp yesterday. I saw your message and I answered immediately. Except the university, I don't dictate to the university. The university is the one that employed every member of the teaching staff. If the university comes up today in the next 1 minute and say, okay, the class is going to be physical, then we have no other choice than to transmit physically. Then you will now see my face or the face of those who will teach you physically. I hope that is noted, sir.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you, sir.
All right. Do we have any other question, troubles that we feel we can resolve, or we can't resolve except we communicate? By the way, this we are meant to discuss together. We are meant to share whatever troubles you. So if you have any other issue beside the email that you are supposed to get, uh, you can share. But for the email, please leave it to those who will share it. Go and meet them and tell them this is what your lecturer said, that you need email to get assignment done. All right, thank you so much. We can then kick off the content now as we shared last week. For those who were here last week, may I know, can you remind us of a few things that we discussed so that we can take off from there? Class rep, don't forget to check on the WhatsApp consistently. Those who may have troubles joining the class, or those who don't even know where the classroom is, you can give them the key to the classroom. All right, let's share together, gentlemen and ladies. Those who were here last week, I need just one person to give us a rundown of what we did. Then from there, we can continue today. It's practical, so you can't keep quiet. If you do, I will mention names. We have met most of you physically before, so I know a number of those who are here. All right, I'm still waiting for you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, my name is Adetono Ifeoluwa from Public Health.
Thank you. Please, this is the procedure we go. This is being recorded, and if you don't mention your name and your department, by the time you are watching this uh, classic or recorded version again, you might not get clarity of some of the things that you are supposed to get. Go ahead.
Okay, so last week, Sunday, we started from the use of MS Word for review of documents and also PDF. So we talked about using MS Word to track changes in documents, adding comments, accepting comments, rejecting revisions, and also comparing two versions of documents. So we use the review tab to carry out all these things. And an example was also used, and a document was used to showcase all these things too. Then we also used PDF. And you also taught us about editing PDF too. So that's what we did in review of documents. Then from there, we moved to what is research. So we discussed about what research is. Then we also discussed about characteristics of research. An example of those characteristics that we discussed was a research must be characteristics of research processes or scientific method. So we discussed that a research must be testable, measurable, generalizable.
All right, thank
Also,
you. Thank you, Miss
a lot of things.
Madam Adetona. You've done well. I don't want
Okay,
you to give us everything. That shows
okay,
that
sir.
you were really very active in class, and we want more of that. Can
Okay,
someone else? Can someone else? This time around, I want a male student. Can you also tell us a bit of what you learned? Please don't repeat what the last student mentioned. Just pick it up from where she stopped and take us to the end.
Hi, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, this is Leki Nasiru, microbiology.
All right, thank you. You can go ahead.
Moving forward from where she stopped, after we talk
Is it
about the type of.
possible? Is it possible, Nasiru, to get closer to your mic? You seems far away from us.
Oh, so sorry about that, sir.
Sir.
Good.
All right, sir. So moving forward from where she stopped, we talked about the types of research design. We talked about the basic design, basic research, evaluation research, historical research, applied research, action research, among many others. Then we move forward to the types of variables that we have: an independent variable and a dependent variable. Alongside others, also, where we talked about the intervening, the moderate, controlled, and extraneous variable. He also gave us a Clark's example where we actually had to the relation between which was dependable and which was independent variable in a particular question. Then what we move forward based on the note also, we talk about the research processes. That is the problem, literature review, research question, quantitative and qualitative research. Then we talked about the research design. That was how we kept on going inside the class.
All right, thank you. That is very noble of you, Mr. Nasiru, the cost rep. All right, we would kick it off from here today. We'll go into research design. And when we talk about research design in active sense, we are talking about identifying solution, looking for solution to solve the problems that we have mentioned before. And I think we have few notes on that. Um, usually is a footprint of how we want to solve our problem. Yeah, that's the right word. And I think last week we mentioned about the concept of you having a house where you live as an example, and your house is actually surrounded by weed, by, let me use the word, bush now, littered with bush, and you want to solve this problem. And then you will think about it, how can I solve this problem? you know the problem is about removing the weed. The problem has been identified, and the concept is that how do I want to solve this problem? Removing the weed. That's the problem that you have identified. And there are so many methods of actually removing this weed. You can decide to use the manual method by removing the weed yourself. Go around, use your hand and remove the weed. But you discover that this is not the right way. Okay? You can decide to also use other methods, such as employing laborers around that are willing to get paid per hour or per day, and you will employ them. You also have challenges with this. Okay? And it's okay, I'm going to use chemical to actually spray the surroundings. Or you want to use a machine to bulldoze the surroundings, and I hope that the house or the foundation will not be removed alongside. So these are various methods that you have designed to solve the problem of research of weed around your house. Now, the issue we are talking about is we're talking about uh, research design. And I say it's a footprint that should be followed in solving a problem. And last week we discussed about what do we look into before we select a design. One of the things that is very important that we must consider is the title. Okay, we must look into the title. After we understood the title, then we also talk about the objectives we want to achieve. After identifying the objective we want to achieve, then we talk about what are the method that we want to use, and the method will also drive the instrument. And one of other factors that we cannot eliminate is the literature review. So that gives us about 5 different methods that we mentioned last week, and everything was covered in the discussion that we had last week. Okay, so we have them on the screen right now. I have 3 here, and I've just mentioned more than that to you. I have about 6 that I've mentioned alongside. This is the nature of the problem. Okay, the questions to be answered, that's the objective, literature review, methodology, instrument, and so on and so forth. So these are fundamental. So you cannot just wake up and say, this is what I want to do and this is how I want to do it. No, what you want to achieve determines how it must be done. And someone from public health gave us the reflection of what we had last week, which was the fact that your solution must be scientific. It is not something that you can just say, okay, this is how it was done in my village, in my state. No, this is how it was done in a peer-reviewed journal that you have read, and it must be done properly. Otherwise, someone else will have to repeat your research someday again because of flaws or errors identified. And this is possible if your research is not properly conducted in a clear and visible manner. It means the process is flawed, is elusive, is not clear, and it has to be explained in a scientific nature that can be documented and people will read and continue to cite every now and then, and that's when a job is well and properly done. So these are the processes that we quickly explained last week. Now, before we go ahead to uh, start one of the designs, we like to explain to you that we have few designs in this course that we would explain and see how we can adopt. We're going to talk about um, the quantitative approach, the qualitative approach, and the mixed method. Whichever the department we fall into, all our design will be subjected or embedded to these approaches, be it computer science, biochemistry, biology, law, English, and so on and so forth. All the design we may ever think about. You want to develop a software, yes, it actually has to be fall into either of these approaches that we have mentioned. There is no other design or approach that we have except that it's following any of these. You can give it a name, it's still going to be adapted to any of these. There is no, if you, even when you are developing the software, you would use data input and output. That's still either quantitative or qualitative in nature, even though you may not have to mention that in your design as part as the process of your design in your department. But what we should know is that it actually take a leap from these three approaches that we have mentioned. Why do we call it approach? That's the next thing that we would consider, so that when you are writing your thesis proposal in real life, you don't misuse words that we should get clarity on. When we say approach, it means that it has a subdivisions of designs. Let's take, for instance, we talk about quantitative approach. Quantitative approach, as we mentioned last week, it can be what? It can be a survey, which can be a longitudinal survey, correlative survey, and so on and so forth. It can be experimental. It can be narrative. So these are different designs that falls under quantitative, as we will see as time goes on. We would evaluate all these designs under the quantitative approach. And when you move from there to the qualitative approach, we also have varieties of designs such as ethnography, phenomenology, grand theory, narrative, and so on and so forth. And when you lift the qualitative research approach, we have the third approach, which is the mixed method. And under the mixed method, we have varieties of them too. We have the explanatory mixed method, we have the exploratory, we have the triangulation, and so on and so forth, that we would also come across to explain with time. So, having mentioned this the three approaches, I would start right away to see how we can go into one of the approaches that we choose to start with because of those in the School of Law. By the way, may I ask if we have people from law school this morning? Yeah, I think last week we had about eight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right? Is that correct?
You're
Yes, sir.
correct, sir. Very good, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
And we actually we
Okay, sir.
chose. Thank
Good
you.
morning, sir.
Thank you. You can mute. We chose to start with qualitative because this is your area of strength. We have done it, quantitatively before, but we noticed that each time we start with numerical, you're always lost in the class. But we start with your interest. The moment you are motivated with this, you would have the desire to stay throughout, even in areas that does not concern you. And by the way, you will be wondering, why am I in software engineering and my passion, my interest falls in this area? It's just like I mentioned, it's an interest. If I have passion for design, for research, I have passion for doing research, and I took that passion to a level of studying research for a year, both the quantitative and the qualitative, aspect of it for a year outside Nigeria. Then that tells you that I am qualified to say a lot about this. Okay, so you can also do the same. You can also have a passion for something that you major in and you continue to teach it for life. And that's just it. So, and why should you study something that you don't do? That is why we call it general studies. General study, GEDS. That's what we call it, GEDS. So it is a general study that you must have idea of how it is being done, so that in the practice of your field, you will be able to mention that yes, this was taught and you know it, or you have a collaborative research grant that you have to solve, and there is a division like that. You can contribute your part. It is part of the curriculum of a PhD in Babcock University. So I've just told you reasons why you are doing some things that are not within your field. That is the curriculum, and you have to pass it. You have to pass it. Equally, we mentioned that your assignments, your projects are very, very important. They are 50 points. Everything has been explained, and I'm sure the course outline was shared on the platform. Please do make use of it. Read extensively so that you can gain great insight into it. All right, I'd like to pause here before we continue and ask for questions, contributions on what we have done so far. So if you have any question or contribution, please, you are free to comment. Just unmute and go ahead with your question or contribution. All right, I want to believe we don't have any, and in view of that, we'll just go ahead. Now I mentioned that we would start with a quantitative and a qualitative approach. I'm not going to differentiate between qualitative and quantitative until we finish this to a certain level, because we don't yet know what qualitative is all about. But for the sake of those who knew what qualitative is all about, can we just say a few things about um, qualitative? What do we know about qualitative approach? The floor is open and you are free to make contributions. Dr. Anokro, good morning. Are you with us? Okay, likely busy somewhere. All right, what is qualitative research approach? Anybody? You're free. All right, please can we now one other role that I may have forgotten to explain. Once I'm on the screen, I don't see the names behind, so I may not be able to appoint you that Mrs. A, student A, student B, it's your turn to speak. Once one person has taken over the microphone, please just leave it. We would call you thereafter for clarity of content and yes, just for the clarity of content. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Adepoju, Abosede, Nursing Department, sir.
Go ahead, please.
A qualitative approach to research gives the respondents the room to express him or herself freely, and this will be recorded. And the researcher will have to record whatever this person says verbatim. You should not add to it by himself or herself. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Madam Adepoju from Nursing. That's quite inciting and very, very clear. Do we have any other person who likes to share or to add to the points mentioned?
Yes, sir. Good morning,
Remember,
sir.
thank you. I'd just like to remind you that if you are here to keep quiet, then you are in a wrong class. As a matter of fact, like Mr. Fidelis mentioned, in my physical class, we discuss, and the same way I discuss in physical, but I do much more in virtual here. I will mention your name, and you must contribute. We are supposed to be, it's a graduate class, right? And we are supposed to be in a roundtable discussion. I'll give you the books and say, go and read and come back and come and tell me what you have learned. Then the class is supposed to redirect you to what you should know. And by the way, we go with the best logic. When I am saying the best logic, if your logic is better than mine, I will tell you you have the right answer than what I do. That's the kind of teacher I am. I'm a professor that learn every day, even from my students and my children. So I'm ready to learn, and we are ready to learn from you. Go ahead, Madam
Okay,
Adenike.
Prof. Let me quickly say for qualitative research,
Okay,
as like the name implies, it's a kind of research that does not involve numerical data.
good,
In other words, you don't need to analyze figures and all of that. And I
good.
think that is essentially the reason why you decided to start with that, so that those of our colleagues who are from law and other courses will not be scared with the kind of figures they are going to be seeing. So
Great.
in that wise, it will enable the researcher to look at things like concept, maybe experience in the field, opinions of others, in order to come to a conclusion
All
on
right.
that particular research area.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
That's great. That's great. That's very good. Do we have any other person who wish to add to what the two people, Madam
Yes.
Madepoju
Good morning,
Fidelis, have mentioned?
sir. Good morning, sir.
Go ahead.
I'm
Good morning.
Onoshoga Oluwaseun from Public Health.
Great.
So to just add to what the Mr. said earlier, I think it's about understanding why and how through non-numerical data, as he has previously said, and such as interviewing method, observation, or test. That's all I have to say, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. We will just go ahead from what you
Yes,
have
sir.
all said. You have made good point. Yeah. Is someone willing to speak again?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm
All right. Go
Ogbonna
ahead.
Chidebere from Computer Science.
All right. Chidebere, go ahead. Computer science.
Yes. For qualitative, the goal is actually to understand the experiences of the participants, the thoughts, usually approaches it from a subjective point, you know. And for qualitative, you want to test theories and then draw off conclusions from there, which is usually objective. So that's practically the major difference. So qualitative usually talks about human history, goes into the depth of their experience. But for quantitative, you have to do with hard facts, working with fact hypothesis and theories. You test theories and then draw conclusions from there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. That's good. That's very good. Now let me
I,
give you
I
an.
also want to
All
add
right.
that in qualitative research,
I guess that's
um,
that's that's Adenike from nursing.
yes, sir,
Okay.
Adenike Sade from nursing, sir.
All right.
They took over from me.
All right. Continue.
That in qualitative research, the sample sizes are usually small.
Okay.
They are usually few, but the studies are usually very in-depth because you need to interact at the natural habitat or natural setting of the participants.
Thank you so much. You've all said well, and I appreciate your comment. Remember, this is something that is a joint class. If you don't speak, is it
Sir,
possible? Okay.
my name is Timitope Adekoya from Law,
All right.
because I
Good.
just noticed that all our contributors they are from sciences, but
And the lawyers will
qualitative,
say that when the lawyers have not spoken, the learned have not spoken. Yeah.
but
Continue.
the qualitative concerns social sciences. Of course, as rightly said, it consists of narratives, documents, observations. Well, i- all this is to obtain contextual and interpretative insights into a research problem.
Okay.
That's my contribution, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's very good and noble of all of you. That's the way the class will go. Class, gentlemen and ladies, that is the nature of our class. You will talk. You will when you speak or contribute, you know more. And sometimes we have students in various, eloquence level. Some are very quiet. Please, you need to speak, and that's why we have method of teachings, different methods, and I will make you speak. We have individualistic method, we have a contribution method, we have project method. So either way, you will speak to me. All right, now let's continue. I will just give you one example to round up the explanation. I want to carry out, after this example, I'm going to ask another question. I want to carry out a research in my community in Lishan Rema, where I stay. I discovered that we've not had electricity since the beginning of the year. And, you know, I want to use two designs. I want to use the quantitative and I want to use the qualitative, approach. I shared an instrument as a method of quantitative, you know, design. And the instrument I shared was a questionnaire to members of that community, or to be able to tell us, because I need to represent the community outside the community so that those in charge can hear our voice, that people are still surviving there despite the darkness that we have been thrown into for over 3 months. Now, however, in the instrument, it's only limited you to tell us if you have been experiencing light out. It does not give you room to give us the challenges or the pains that you have gone through. Do you have a light in your area? No. How long have you been experiencing light out? 3 months or 2 months and plus? Can you tell us the things that you have that you could no longer retain in your refrigerator? You list them. That's all. Okay? And that goes on to you analyze that, and that goes on to the public, and you present it in a conference, in a gathering, community, center, to know the challenges that your community are going through to the public. That is one method. Okay, we discover something along the line that it can actually be better. Really, in a community, fingers are not equal. A number of people live together in a community. Some may be in an estate, some may be in less than an estate. Meaning that sometimes you can have money to generate your electricity. Right now in Nigeria, we can generate our electricity through a private means of buying petrol. Some is through solar and so many other means. And the third method is that some cannot even afford either of these two that I have mentioned. But the instrument never captured this. So we want to do another, research that will capture the ideas and the voice of people, to be able to let us know what they are going through within this month of light out. So the first one was actually a closed-ended instrument. Now this instrument too is going to be, it's not, we may decide not to use a questionnaire, or we could even use a questionnaire. We distribute a questionnaire around, and the questionnaire will ask for your name, the environment, how long have you been, experiencing light out, and the next one may ask you, what are the things that you have lost due to this blackout issue? What are the challenges that you go through on a daily basis to meet up with your official assignment? What are the pains? The medical people will call it mental health challenges that you have undergone. Now, by the time we present these two to the community, the question I want to ask you is that which one do you think will be clearer to the people or to the government in knowing in knowing the challenges of what people within this community have failed or have faced in the last 3 months? Mind you, it's very important to know that the clarity of your challenge or your proposal will draw people to give you the fund. There's what we call grant writing. You should have done that in 911. If you have not, those of you who are here will do it again when the time comes. The clarity of your problem will attract funding, and the non-clarity will direct the fund to somewhere else or somebody who has a better word. a better clarity of the problem they go through. So, from these two we have mentioned, the first question I'm asking now is that which one do you think we attract the sympathizers or the government to come to the aid of the community? I just want an answer and why.
Thank you, sir. From Public Health Light Adeni. So I believe that the one that speaks to the emotions and experiences of people would actually gain more attention because now people are speaking from their life experiences, not just answering a yes or no question. They can relate and even express themselves more to tell them some of the challenges apart from the fact that they did not have light, there are some other challenges that came with it. So it gives it more weight when it's being presented out there. Thank you, and over, sir.
Thank you so much. Very, very appreciative of that. And the next question, which I'm going to ask, is that why do we why do we do research? Why do we do research? I Why do we? This question might be too ambiguous. We do research to solve problem. That's very, very, very clear. But that's not what I want right now. That's not what I want. That's
Hello,
not the
sir.
question
And
I
then
want.
at the point,
Yeah, yeah. Let me clarify that so that we don't waste time answering that question. I want to clear all ambiguities, okay, so that you know the answer that we are seeking for. Sometimes when we ask questions in exam, we answer it ourselves, and if there are ambiguous answers, we eliminate that so that you don't run into trouble. Now, why do we do research and expect? Um, hmm, okay, let me answer this question so that you don't run into trouble. Um, you remember that I am a member of the community of Elysian where I also experience light out, and I'm also one of those living there that has to do involved in the research. Therefore, a researcher is actually representing a member of a community, a population, because the population cannot all go to the media to explain the excruciating challenges that they have. So a researcher is either a member of a respondent community or not. However, a researcher is an experienced or a scientific who is trained to do a research, and you are either taking the challenges of the people numerically to the public, or you are taking the voices of the people to the public for urgent matters or solutions required by the community. That's the question I wanted to put before you. We do research to solve problems and also to carry the challenges of people to the community, because you can't expect 2,000 people to go to the government house and say, yes, this is the challenges we have. Before you know it, they will turn into riot. But if someone has a documented fact and takes this to the media, everybody is open to this, and this will be viewed and read by others. Yes, I noticed that a profile is open while my explanation is going on. If you have anything to add to this, you do. Otherwise, the processes is we are starting.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sally Adenike still
Oh,
talking.
okay. Okay.
I
Go
want
ahead.
to just correct a notion that was stated by my counterpart from public health, who says that um, take it just and you want to consider the people's voices rather than an instrument that just answers yes or no. I beg to say that an instrument does not only state yes or no. Sometimes you have different portions that is actually saying exactly what the qualitative or the interviewing or recording of expressions from the people is also saying in in a questionnaire or an instrument, and it's going to be rated. That is why it is numerical. So we cannot outrightly rule out the fact that an instrument will not say what exactly we intend to allow the public to know.
Thank you
That's
so
what I
much.
want to correct.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much. We are all in a school. We are on a level ground. We are learning every day. So When we are corrected, let's pick it up and let's move to the next level. We are not in a competitive environment. So that's why we're here. Thank you, Adenike. Now, we want to go straight, and I'm not going to major on what you've all said again, but permit me to read the last uh, ink, which is the red ink here. Then we go to um, the types of the approaches or types of the design we have under the qualitative approach. A qualitative research, please, someone's profile is still left open and it's disturbing the peace of the class. If I have to intercept, I will remove the person, and I'm sure you don't want this. So please check your profile and mute yourself. We cannot continue until this is actually handled. All right, that has been handled by the owner. All right, qualitative research aims to explore. Look at that word: explore, discover, understand, or describe phenomena. Another word for that is issues that have already been identified but are not well understood. Did you hear that? So sometimes the environment I lived, we have done a research quantitatively in the past and nobody ever came to our environment. Yes, it's possible. Why? The understanding of what you go through was never made known to the public. Remember, funding is inadequate. Therefore, it is always moved to the area where the immediate needs are, known or or paramount. What do I mean? You have an environment where people are dying of cholera, okay? And you have an environment, a community where people don't have light and there is no mortality. Can you tell me where will I move my? If I'm the one, I'm a private, a philanthropist, and you have brought, I'm reviewing series of documents in the public. Where do you think I'm going to throw my money to? I just need an answer right now. Am I still with the class or
Monica,
I've lost
yes,
touch with you?
the money should go to the environment where there is cholera, other than
Good.
the environment.
Thank you. So
Yes,
that's the
sir.
word. That's the word. Thank you. So from there, I'm sure this. Thank you so much. You can mute your profile. I'm sure that explanation of the definition, that definition is clear to you. Sometimes we do a research that may not, people don't understand. Okay, so we may have to redo the same research again using another method, and that's why mostly that's what's actually brought about the qualitative approach which we have not been using in the past to Nigeria. This came recently to Nigeria, probably in the last 10 years. Most of our studies have always been done quantitatively. All right, so we go uh, to other, active verb. Those of you who have done 911, you know that this active verb are used in writing objectives. If you want to write your objectives in quantitative, design, you use the word describe, analyze, design, characterize, develop, assess. Those are active verb that we normally use. If you are just joining us, don't beat yourself too hard. You will do it again when the time comes. However, in qualitative, designs, in qualitative design, you don't use those quantitative active verbs. Rather, you use qualitative. Remember, you want to explore. We are not saying that this thing is not happening. Why is it happening? Okay, and it's very important when you see we would still get there. You have a young child, I mean not young, you have a teenager at the age of 15 that's still bedwetting and you think it's normal. Yes, it may not have any supernatural issue or any or natural supernatural occurrence attached. However, why is it happening? You need to explore reasons. This person is either the person is a deep sleeper. He sleeps very deep, you know. Even a knock on the door will never wake the person. Mostly, such people fall into that, or they eat too much and they can't control their appetite. So there are so many issues. You want to understand, you want to discover, you want to explain, you want to know, you want to describe, you want to narrate, interpret, construct. All these cannot be used under quantitative. Take note, these are active verbs using qualitative. All right, before we go into the types, there's what we call the philosophical assumption guiding qualitative research. And the moment you can understand this philosophical assumption, they actually under their opinions guiding the use of qualitative research. So once we can understand this, then we have a very good knowledge of qualitative research. One of these, okay, is the use of ontological assumption, is what we call ontological assumption. And the other word you may want to replace with that is nature of reality. What is the nature of reality? Ontological assumption deals with the nature of reality in qualitative research. It assumes that reality is subjective, constructed by individuals, and may differ based on people's experiences. That is very correct. What you see is not what I see. The pains you are going through differs from my own pain. It is subjected to whoever is carrying the pain. Okay? Now let's look at some key points. Say reality is multiple and context dependent. I just explained that now. Reality, the pains depend on the pain carrier. That is, it's dependent, it's context dependent, rather than what? Singular. It cannot be singular, it cannot be a universal issue. Pain is universal, but the pain threshold is not universal, it's content dependent. Now let's look at an example to show why ontological assumption is actually a reality, which is the nature of reality. A study on how people a study on how people experience grief may reveal that grief is different from each participant. Some may describe it as a process of healing, while others may see it as an enduring emotional pain. Okay, is that not true, ladies and gentlemen? Is that not a nature of reality?
It is,
That's true, sir.
it's
Yeah, when
true.
you see when people
It
lose.
is true, sir.
Thank you. When people are grieving in an attempt to go through the loss of someone, you see some people, the second day they're on the street. Their husband, died. The second day they're on the street. They are back to work. And you ask them, you greet them, and they answer you normally, they're okay. Please don't think they're okay. They are going through a lot. Okay? You see some people after the loss of someone, they are smiling. That's the way he can actually cover up the grieving moment. And you see some people, each time you visit them in their homes, all they do is what? Is to cry, is to excessive, wailing. Yes, these are
We
different.
call it defense mechanism.
Thank you. These are my nurses now coming up. I appreciate that. You can hear that now. So it's not really that you're not going through, but that is the only way you can actually defend yourself. You can appear, as if nothing is happening to you, and internally you're actually going through another process stages that nobody can see except you yourself. So that's what we call nature of reality. Another point is, people who put to bed, the mothers in the house, you know what I'm talking about. Um, birth, labor pain. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Labor pain. It's not unique. It varies. And if a father wants to tell you that I know what my wife went through when she depends, you are lying. You don't. You could be in the labor room, but actually you don't know what they're going through. And it varies from mother to mother. Some, the pain is from the back down. Some is on their head. Some and everywhere. The same thing is pregnancy period. I remember one of the occasions when my wife had, years ago, first pregnancy. She was asking for chalk to eat, a writing chalk to eat. And you wonder, if you are not someone that, had met people with such a, you thinking something is wrong. It's nothing wrong. It's what she's going through internally that is actually coming out externally. Some will ask for food. Some, their own issue is they cannot even eat anything apart from what? Food from histories throughout. They have to eat outside, what they don't cook at home. Some will be leaking salt. These are different realities, what we call ontological. All right, let's move on to the next. We've had enough examples there. The next example is epistemological assumption, nature of knowledge. Nature of knowledge. Remember, the first one is ontological, nature of reality. Now, epistemology concerns the nature and acquisition of knowledge. Remember, nature of knowledge. In qualitative research, it assumes that knowledge is subjective and co-constructed through interactions between the researcher and the participant. That is it. Knowledge is subjective between you and I now. I want to take you as the researcher. I want to take you as my participant while I'm the researcher. Okay? It's actually subjective. What do we mean further? Researchers immerse themselves in participants' context to get deep sight or insight. There is no research you do in qualitative that you don't subject yourself. You don't immerse yourself. And that is why you need to be very careful. We'll get to some of this context very soon. Let's look for an example here to show more light on the epistemological nature of assumption, which deals with knowledge. A researcher studying the challenges faced by immigrant families may conduct an in-depth interviews, engage in participants' observation, and build relationships to fully understand their lived experiences. The findings reflect knowledge co-created through this interaction. Is that not true? You don't just because you want to, if you want to do a research that has to do with observation, especially what people go through to move from Nigeria, to move outside Nigeria to other countries, and the moment they arrive there, they go through a lot before they settle down. And you want to find out what they go through. The best thing to do is actually to form an interaction with them. By observing what they go through, you need to visit them regularly. Today you come, you bring probably a set of cushion chairs that you don't use again. You ask them to come and, or you even bring them to offload and help them to arrange it. And you stay with them, and maybe along the line, you also bring some foodstuff that you ask them to, or you cook it and bring and serve and eat with them. At that point, they will share things that you never experienced was going on. This is nature of what? Knowledge. You are immersing yourself into what they are going through in order to get their experiences. If you don't do that, from a distance, you will get nothing. How is it going? It's fine. How are you today? I'm good. Every day is good, good, good. Yeah, fine. Nobody will tell you it's not fine if you are not close to them. It's only when you are very close to them that you can know that things are not actually, fine. That is the nature of knowledge. I'm not going to ask for examples until we cover the 5 types of, assumptions guiding the qualitative research. The third one, after the nature, the epistemological assumption, is the axiological assumption, which is roles of values. Role of values. Role of values. Values. What does value have to do with qualitative research? Axiology deals with the role of values in research. In qualitative research, it assumes that both the researchers and participant values influence the study. That's very correct. Whatever value you have, influence your study. I'm going to share other examples, but let's go ahead. They, this challenges the idea of neutrality and objectivity. In the moment your value influence your result, then the objective is questionable. And sometimes, and that's what we call bracketing, sometimes you cannot separate your idea. That's what you have before is the bracketing. You cannot separate your idea from the result you are getting. Okay, let's see the key point here. Researchers acknowledge their okay, except you do this. Researchers acknowledge their bias and reflect on how these shape the research process and outcome. If you don't identify your bias, and we have different types of biases, if you don't identify this and put this down on paper, it's going to affect your results. And before you know it, it's not the result that is speaking, but it's the knowledge that is actually speaking. So bracketing is the ability to separate your bias from the current information that you get from the research. Let's look at this example. A researcher investigating the impact of workplace discrimination may have a personal motivation, okay, such as what? Being part of an underrepresented group. Instead of removing their bias, the researcher openly declares it and interprets data with that perspective in mind. It's very possible. You want to investigate the impact of work discrimination. And before that, you have it in mind that you're actually underrepresented. Maybe the institution, the organization, is it was established by your community, and your community you have three uh, minor groups that forms the major. Okay, for example, we have the Yoruba, English, you have the Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa in our community, and we all contributed money to establish the organization. And before the research, you had it in mind that the Yoruba are minor, are underrepresented. So, what do you want to find out again? Of course, there you say there will be discrimination. But if you set that aside, you have that in mind, put it on paper that before this, the beginning of this research in chapter 3, these are the biases I have. By the time you are and set it, let it be there. By the time you are interpreting, don't bring that into it. So whoever is reading will know the researcher's bias from the report bias. However, if you don't do this, then you have a challenge on the role of value. Please just keep your question, write it down. I'm not going to attend to this until the last. We're going to the fifth one. We are just on the third one. Another example that we can share on this, the nature of assumption or the roles of value is that you want to do a research uh, while the herbalist go into incantation. You want to do a research on why herbalists, going into incantation, and you believe that actually the herbalists are not Christians. If you don't put that aside, whatever research you do at the end of the day, knowing how incantation takes place, you still come back to tell us that they are not what? They are not Christians. So you need to separate that idea before you start. Otherwise, it's going to impart, it's going to violate your results, and your results will be adulterated with so many things that are not supposed to be. The third one point is what we call the methodological assumption, okay, which is other word approach to inquiry. The assumption addresses the research process itself. In qualitative research, the methodology is inductive, okay, it's inductive, it's not rigid, and that's what we say flexible and iterative. It moves from one stage to the other, allowing findings to emerge originally from the data. You don't bring your findings from your ideas. There are some findings actually that requires idea, but when you are looking at the methodological assumption, your ideas are not supposed to infuse your result. So researchers use open-ended method, interviews, focus group, observation to adapt as the study progresses. Okay, that is what we call the methodological assumption, the approach to inquiry. You know, it's flexible. It's not rigid. I can't say because you are bringing your. I have a direction actually of research, and I'm actually interviewing you. And the moment you lead me away, I will now tell you that your point is not is meaningless. No, we can still do the research, capture the data, not meaningless. I may not capture that as part of my output, but I will allow you to make your point known. All right. So let's look at this example to better take us to a destination. A researcher using grounded theory might begin by interviewing a small group of teachers about their views or inclusive education. As pattern emerge, as patterns emerge, the research refines the focus, asking new questions and revisiting earlier participants to explore emerging themes further. That is it. It will continue to expand. You know, for instance, you just saw people from afar, and you say, okay, this person is a night walker, a night crawler. I don't want to, give you the other interpretation here, but I'm sure you know the meaning of that. Night crawler. And you say, oh, this woman is not responsible. You know, it's not a responsible woman because she goes out in the night. Well, if you don't go close to her, you will not know why she goes out in the night. And before you by the time you start your interview, you discover that one question leads to the other. And eventually you now know reasons why she embarked on such, occupation. And you now have the right, skills on redirecting her path to where you want her to be. So to every investigation, there are rooms for expansion of opinion, which we call the methodological, which is very flexible, an open-ended way of observing things and all that. All right. Thank you. We go to then the last one. After this, then you can bring your questions to the table and we look at it. Please put your questions down. The last one, but not the least, is the rhetorical assumption. You know, language of research. What is the influence of your language of research over the research you do? Okay. This relates to how research is communicated. In qualitative studies, the writing style is typically personal, which you should know. It's also descriptive and narrative. They are personal because they are coming from personal opinion. They are coming from a group of researchers, and they are descriptive in nature, and it has to be narrative, not we say inductive, not rule based. Good. So often including direct quotes or stories from participants. Now, what are the key points? The aim is to make participant voices central to the findings, and that's one of the core reasons why research are actually qualitative. Voices, how are you doing? If I ask you how are you doing and I put the question yes or no, are you okay? Yes, even if I'm not okay. After all, you have not given me room to tell you why I'm not okay. Yes, I'm okay. Thank you. I'm not okay. Thank you. But if you ask me to express how I am doing on a paper, wow, you will read more text than what you ever envisage. And that goes for every individual person in this class. If I ask you, how are we doing today in class? Are you coping? Are you getting your PhD on? How is the journey so far? I'm sure we have stories to tell. Our emails are not forthcoming. Yeah, we cannot submit. These are issues. Okay? But if I didn't give you room to tell me that, I just give you yes or no in class, then you will just tell me, yes, I'm doing fine. Yes, I'm not doing fine. Okay, so the aim is to make your voices to be central to the finding. In case you don't know you are unmuted, please mute your profile. It's not yet time for questioning. Mute your profile. All right. The all right. Please give me a minute. I need to mute. I need to mute. All right, I just muted the person now. The next obstructions that will come from there, I'm going to remove that person. I won't mention your name because of the this thing is going to go viral. I'm not going to mention your name. But the next obstruction that comes from that particular person, I'm going to remove you totally from this class. And if I remove you can't join the class until another week. That's the profile that I have created here. So and that's why I keep saying, please mute your profile when you're not holding the mic. In a study on survivors of domestic violence, the researcher presents findings through detailed narrative, integrating participant verbatim quotes to highlight their experiences and emotions authentically. This is true. This is true. An example is the community light out that I mentioned. If you don't integrate them, you think it's just ordinary. Some people are actually going through mental health challenges by the fact that they are living in a dark environment and they can see light in other areas because they can power their house through generator, through solar and all that. So they feel secluded. That's a challenge. Another one is the one we just see, survival of violence, domestic violence. The researcher presents his findings through narrative, integrating verbatim voice so that the public will know. What you think is just ordinary, yes, he's just beating his wife or the wife beating the husband. It may be more than that. Or do you know when they have started? Before it actually ended up in what? In physical battle to show that they can wrestle very well. So, and you have survived it. You want to tell the story. It's only the storyteller that know how deep or excruciating the challenges feels or what they have actually what they have gone through before they can bring it out to physical exchange. Now this has brought us to the end of the assumptions on the qualitative research. We have talked about ontology, nature of reality. We have talked about epistemology, assumption, nature of knowledge. We have talked about anxiological assumption, rules of values. We have talked about methodological assumption, approach to inquiry, and we have talked about the language of research, which is the rhetorical assumption. Now, can you bring your questions up? You can ask questions now. If you have, I saw some hands earlier when I have to mute somebody. Please ask your question now.
Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We can hear you. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just wondering, sir, from all what you have said, sir. Good morning, sir. From all what you have just told us this morning about qualitative research, would it be right to say then, sir, that qualitative research has to do with bringing emotional intelligence to bear in the design of the research instruments, the interaction with the respondents, and the presentation of the researcher of the research results to the public.
All right, thank you so much. That's the question. I don't want to answer this. Can anybody in the class answer this? That from the conclusion. Can we conclude that it's just a way of bringing emotional intelligence to our presentation? Is that true, class?
No, sir.
Okay, if you
No,
say,
sir.
go
No, sir.
ahead. It's a qualitative class. So when you are saying no, I want more than no.
Okay. I would say
The
no, sir, because you're already biased if you say that it is more of an emotional intelligence because the researcher is actually going to the natural setting of the participants and actually hearing their views. These views are not assumed by the researcher, and these views are not supposed to be reframed by the researcher. It is coming the natural way, although there may be room for transcribing, but it is just the way the people feel that they are expressing. And that is exactly what the researcher should compute.
That's good. I'm happy the way you handled it. Emotional intelligence is not by the researcher, it's not by the respondent. Number one, remember your emotional, if you have emotion and you want to refer it to it now as an intelligent emotion, right? You need to put it aside. Sometimes your emotion comes your in fact emotion don't come at all. What comes into research is idea, which we'll get to. And I will share that with you when we get there. And I think I try to give you an example of that. You have a teenager who is still, bedwetting, and you are in your house and you are almost killing this teenager. You will not. I mean, stop messing up the house at your age, at my own age. I did not wet the bed, and your mother is there, and will just call you to a corner and say, "Come." What did you just say to that child? Do you know at the age of 17 you were still wetting the bed, even in the university? Then you now open your eyes and say, "What? That is what you didn't know." And your mother will have to tutor you on what to do. That is idea, not emotion. Okay? So these are issues. We'll get to that. We'll get to that as part of the examples of the qualitative research. These are not so you must in no way bring your emotion. They are actually ideas you can bring, but some ideas are there are some research that will require your idea because sometimes your idea will adulterate and destroy the research in terms of bias. Why some are needed, okay, and that's what we call bracketing. You put it aside, state your bias, and before you go ahead. For example, someone who wants to do a research on babalawo, I mentioned that incantation, and you don't like them, but you insist that you can survive with them because you say you are a Christian, you are not in that religion, and before you know it, you went into researching. Lo and behold, after 4 or 5 months, you begin to incantate. People will run away from you and say, "We told you you can't do this." You went into it because of your immersion, because of your interest. You turn to what? An herbalist. That you can really say a word without chanting. Then you are in trouble. The same thing, someone who wants to study uh, the night crawler, reasons why they crawl in the night. And they told you that, "Oh boy, you have a nature of this. You can't do this." You said, "No, I can do it. I can," before you know it, you begin to consult and to ask them every night to come on. Where do I pick you from? From research, you have translated to what? The researcher or the respondent. So you can't bring that into it. And if you do, then you are in trouble. Emotions will kill the research. Thank you so much. Do we have any other question or contributions either way?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay, let's do that one after the other for clarity's sake.
Okay. I'm Obona Chidi from Computer Science.
All right,
Yes, sir. So
go
my
ahead.
question is on the fourth point, fourth assumption you mentioned, qualitative assumption, methodological assumption. Just two slides before this one.
Yeah,
Yes, you mentioned ground theory, where we saw that it's more inductive. You let the theory emerge from what the people actually tell you.
yes,
Yeah, my question is targeted towards the research objective itself. The purpose of doing your research in a particular area is to solve your own problem or a problem that you have designed from the start. What are you trying to achieve with that research? So if you end up going to the to use a qualitative method, for instance, and you see that the participants are the ones informing your own research goal, isn't that counterproductive? That's where my question is targeted.
okay. Can someone else? I'm treating this class as it should be treated. Sometimes the results come from the class, which I'm always impressed with, because we have also we are not we are not babies in research. So, can someone answer that from the audience before I give my final? May I know if Dr. Anokru is with us in the house? Okay, I'll find out. All right,
Good
let's.
morning, sir.
Okay, good morning.
Yes, I'm Vivian Aigbadon from Law.
All right, Vivian, welcome. We heard your voice last week, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to respond to the question on the methodological assumption.
Go ahead.
Um, his question whether relying on the researchers' use of open-minded questions on respondents to develop an answer to his research. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because if you have um, um, a research you want to conduct, you already have a problem, you have identified a problem you want to solve, you want to go to the right audience, the proper probably, if it's like the example you gave to us on um, immigration, those who have as immigrants, the experiences of immigrants who just migrate, and then you go to them and then get their experiences before you can find a solution to the research problem. I think if you have the right targeted audience, I mean, or respondents who you want to have your interviews with, you will definitely arrive um, to be able to solve that research problem that we have identified. Thank
Thank you so much, Vivian. All right, do we have any other one? Otherwise, I will just share my own point. Okay, now, if you have an objective, qualitative objective, I shared a number of active verbs that can be used earlier. One of these critical one is explore. If you are exploring, you don't have your qualitative objective has no, you don't have an answer. If you have an answer, then why are you doing the research? You have an objective, and they say you want to say it's counterproductive, which means you have something. Assuming you want to go to an office in a day, and okay, my production today, I run a production firm, and today I want to ensure that we have the resource, the raw materials on ground. We want to produce 5,000 tons because we have the raw materials, we have the employers, we have everything needed. We have a study electricity. Yes, if you end up doing 4,005, yes, that is counterproductive, and you know what may have run that down. But you are going for a production. You don't have idea of what to produce. Your production will be motivated by those you meet in the field of production. Would you have a counterproductive? Can you ever have a counterproductive? No, you can't, because you don't have a direction. You don't have an objective. You don't have the solution. The other one, you have the solution, you have the formula, you have everything to give you the direction. But right now, you don't have. The people you are meeting on the field are actually those that will direct you. And as a matter of fact, you thought the problem is a little, small. By the time you go into the reality of life, to what people go through, when you see people, you see them on the street and they call themselves names. You just say this is just these so-called people again. But by the time you go into research to find out why they are called that, wow, you open your mouth and they give you insight, and that's what exactly you document. Okay, so the issue is that okay, you thought of having 20 pages, you end up having 60 pages. Yes, not counterproductive. You spend your money. By the way, let me let you know that qualitative research is more time consumption, it's more costly, and very, very, involving. Know that. more than the quantitative. All right. I hope that answers Chidebere's question. I hope you understand the meaning of that. So it's not counterproductive because you don't have the solution. So whatever you get is uh, is the solution. However, if you are talking about, for example, you want to talk about nightcrawler, is you want to investigate why they go crawling in the night, and someone is now directing you to night marauders, thieves, then you know that is counterproductive. Your objective is to find out why those who go out in the night, who solicit the services of men or who solicit the services of women, why they do so. And it's now directing you to what? To those who burgle houses. Then you should know that that is counterproductive. It is not part of your objectives that you have set. So that's the difference there. I hope we are clear with that, gentlemen and ladies. Am I still with this with all of you, or I've lost touch with you? I just need some.
Yes,
Yes,
you're
sir.
Yes,
the
We are
one
sir.
that
hearing
We are
us.
hearing you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
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 sir.
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 We are here. We are
Thank you.
together, sir.
Thank you. Well appreciated. Would observe 5 minutes break when it's 10 o'clock. Don't just keep holding back and contributing. We give room for those who wants to use the restroom and all that. Then, now let's look at this. So the assumption that we have gone through align with broader philosophical, paradigms, such as what we call. You can read more on this constructivism. I'm going to share a number of textbooks on the Google Classrooms that relate to, or I just share. I think I will just share the. I hope I can just share the link too. I've shared it with those on the regular. If I can get the Google the class the drive link to you, or I just because repeating it is just filling up the drive again. I will see what I can do, but the main objective is that the book will be made open to you. The reality we talk about constructivism, which tells us that reality is constructed by individuals' knowledge, which is subjective. We have seen that falls under constructivism. Another philosophical paradigm, that we have just gone through is interpretivism, and that emphasizes understanding the meaning of human experiences. And you look at that when we talk about people, going through grief, that falls under
The
interpretation.
network is very bad, though. I don't know whether it's from my side.
Yeah, I'm sure, Madam Okochi, likely to be from your side. Is it bad for everybody?
No, sir.
No,
No, sir. Not
no,
that
sir.
bad.
We
Not
can
that
hear
bad,
you,
sir.
sir. No, sir.
So, Madam
No, sir.
Okochi, can you hear me?
It's clearer now, sir.
Okay, maybe you move to if it's your house, then in my house there are sections in my house that receives more. Maybe if that also aligns with you, you can go to another environment. Okay, and it's good. Please always speak out. Don't assume that things are normal. It's part of this research we are doing. When you see people going through, don't just that woman is dirty. No, please find out. It's not. It's more than that. She's going through a lot, and if you can help such people, man or woman, please help them to regain their mental situation, and you will also be blessed in return. So interpretism, we have mentioned that. Then another one is critical theory, challenges power structure and incorporate a value-driven approach to empower marginalized voices. Okay, marginalized voices, there are people who cannot talk, and that's why you are talking as a researcher. They are in a society, they are in a community, you are coming out to speak for them. Sometimes you have to help them. They want to, they need something, and you can also, don't wait for a big donor philanthropy. You can also start the donorship from the little you can give and solve the problem, instead of waiting, tell them to go and write to the government that they are going through this. You can actually give them generator, give it to them, let them continue to meet their need. That's what we call the critical theory issue for marginalized voices. Let them be able to stabilize. All right, that's all about the philosophical assumption guiding qualitative data, and this is all about qualitative. Briefly, before we go ahead, let's quickly see difference between quantitative and qualitative research before we start the examples. Once we can understand this, that will be a pretty clear concept. Now, for quantitative research, we don't use hypotheses. What's the essence of hypothesis? An assumption of what the output will be. You declare that this will be higher than this, and at the
Sorry,
end
sir,
of
you mean qualitative? You said for quantitative research, we don't use hypothesis.
yes. Sorry,
Quantitative.
sorry, 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 sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you, thank you, thank you, Madam Adenike. Quantitative research, we use hypothesis. I mean to say for qualitative research, we don't use hypothesis. Thank you for that. Thank you. Number one here says the bullet one say researchers test hypotheses that are stated at the beginning of quantitative research. Why do we test hypotheses? Because we assume that our result will be this. We have a direction of how our result will be. That's why we test for hypotheses. But for qualitative, and at that point, we can then go with Chidebere's question earlier that we have that our result is counterproductive. If the result does not fall into the hypothesis tested, then we are in trouble. I mean, it does not fall to the null and the alternative. Then sitting on the fence, then it's counterproductive. The other one is that the qualitative we don't have, because we don't have the direction of how the result will be. You're only following the researcher. Say researcher capture and discover meaning once they become what? Immersed in the data. Second idea here is that concepts are in the form of distinct variable. We've mentioned this earlier. I just felt that we should share a few points here. Concepts are in the form of themes, motives, generalization, and taxonomies of what you come across. Measures are systematically created before data collection and are standardized. Yes, we create our measures. How is it going to be? How is it going to form? While on the qualitative side, we don't have it. Measures are created as an ad hoc manner and are often specific to individual settings, environment, to or researcher. And data are in the form of numbers from precise measurement. We mentioned this. On the other side, data are in the form of words, images, pictures, okay, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. So these are uh, various. I want you to read more. Usually we don't give notes, but this note will be given after some time. Why don't we give notes, or why do we disallow students from reading notes? This is just slide, by the way, and we call it PowerPoints. On a slide, I can spend 20 minutes because I have read the books that gave me the knowledge to building this slide. I have read more than 7 qualitative books before I can bring up this. I can tell you that categorically. So if I'm only giving you the slide, then I'm cutting you off the benefit that you are supposed to get. You are supposed to go and read books that will highlight. You see, most of the points here, I just pick one and I will elaborate because I have read the books that and experiences that gave me this impression. And we want you to also build on that. Okay, so that's why we don't give slide, but all the same, you still share this, across at a point before you write your exam to be able to allow you to read and to understand. Okay, there are so many textbooks available on design. I did not publish one on research design. I may still publish one. Somebody is collaborating with me on writing a textbook for nursing science. Maybe in that process, I may publish one on research design. I have published on research, but not on design, on proposal writing. And a number of you have that. So I'm still working on seeing how I can, with time, I think I will find time to put something down on research design. This will be made known to you or open to you, but it's not a textbook. It is not a note. It is a jottings, highlight of what notes should be. So without reading textbook, you may not get the idea
A
here.
guide.
Good, thank you. It's a guide. Yeah, that's a better word. Thank you. So let's look at some similarities. If you want to speak, you will speak after now, and some differences in both quantitative and qualitative. Both follow the 6 steps of research process. What are the 6 steps? You have your title, your statement of the problem, your objective, the third step, that's the third, and um, your methodology. You have your literature review, your methodology, the fifth, and lastly, you have your instrument. Those are the 6 steps of research, process. Then you both also have what we call the data collection, employ similarity, right? So that we have interviews that cut across both, we have narrative that cut across both, and both establish the importance of the problem. Okay, so these are some of the similarities. What are the differences that we can pinpoint? Okay, in quantitative research, problem direct types of questions or what hypothesis. In qualitative, it establishes the importance of the phenomenon being studied. That is sure. Also, quantitative use more closed-ended questions, and in fact, we have overflowed this in our examples, and I'm happy we did, and that will give us more insight into understanding how things flow here. And on the other side, say we don't use that closed-ended. When we use closed-ended, we use words like strongly agree and all that, and most strongly agree, not agree, neutral, and disagree, and most disagreement, if that is how you want to, you know, um, design your instrument. But usually it's on the issue of agree, strongly agree, I don't agree, and on and on. We call this open-ended Likert structure. The other one is that quantitative rely more on statistical analysis of data, while qualitative use the words on image, on transcribe. And right now we have some instruments we use in analysis, such as in vivo and others. There's one other one that just skipped my mind now that we use in analyzing our data. And by the way, there will be a qualitative, there will be a training on SPSS very soon. It's going to be on a private level. We cannot include SPSS to this class. We cannot, we have tried to infuse in the past, but it creates more confusion than clarity. So we will separate that out of the class. It's for those who can pay for it. When the time comes, I will let you know when and who is taking it. So the last one here, but not the least, is that quantitative follows format, which has to do with introduction, literature review, method, and etc. While in qualitative, literature review sections might be missing. Sometimes it might be missing, depending on how you have structured your work. So these are the few differences that we should know, and we have gone through this as a summary of both is that the match approach to research problem and solve our problem. And quantitative and measurement involve what? Statistical analysis, while qualitative involves what? Opinion and observation of people. Yeah, at last, the second method, the second solution software, using analyzing qualitative is Atlas TI. So we have Atlas TI in various versions, and we have in vivo. I think you can Atlas TI is still cheaper. You can get that in Nigeria. You can get that, but in vivo is very expensive. Even those who have it on the institutional level are still very expensive. These are some of the things that we should know. And for quantitative too, we use Excel. We use Excel. We use those of you who cannot use Excel, you should be able to use XPSS, and we also use R programming for analysis. So I will see how we can structure a few of these for a training later. A training for a month or two periodically. You will be informed. All right, and that is yes. I mentioned this earlier. What is research design? Remember, I say it's a blueprint of how a study is, can be carried out. And I give us an information of having a house that is filled with, bush, and it has to be clean. and I give us series of designs that we can approach. So here we have, if you're asked to define or explain why you do a research, okay, action plan that allows researchers to collect, analyze, and interpret data. Is also a process to correct method that delivers the project. Okay, use the correct method that delivers to project, or define appropriate instrument for data collection, specific data collection procedure, or statistical tool. These are the what research design is all about. Yeah, I mentioned earlier too, in case you have forgotten, what are the factors that you consider in choosing a design? Remember, I've showed us the purpose of the study, the variable involved, objectives, the, the design, and the instrument. And this is still what we are bringing up here, talking about variables. If your variable, you have variables such as dependent, independent variable, like we studied last week, you should know the type of study that you have definitely have to, be exposed to. Okay. All right. We'll go directly to types of qualitative research now, but I assume we have some questions. I saw some hands popping up behind earlier. Now it's time for us to ask our questions before we start the types of qualitative research design. Remember, we have been discussing all the while qualitative approach. Now we want to go into the designs under this approach. Your questions, please, if you have any.
Thank you, sir. Adepoju from nursing department is here, sir.
Go ahead,
Thank you, sir. Earlier on, you talked to us about the philosophical assumptions
very well.
in qualitative research.
Very correct.
But then you still went further to now talk of philosophical paradigms again.
Yes.
What is the correlation between the two, sir?
Very good question. Can someone help us? Because I tried to align the two. I will give you the answer, but I want to be sure that other people probably understood my explanation. Can someone just tell us? Hello, gentlemen in the house. Does that mean that you didn't understand and you just kept quiet? Wow. Gentlemen and ladies, nobody. Mr. Fidelis.
Sir? Good morning, sir. I took
Morning.
up the time.
Prof, I'm here.
I want to hear your voice. I'm surprised.
I'm just thinking in my head what.
Okay, keep thinking. I will. Your thoughts will come out after this. My friend here who is coming up. Come on, try, madam. Let's hear your voice.
I don't for my methodology.
Yeah, can you
I,
come closer? Can you come closer? That
yes,
voice
sir.
is
Am I
is
clearer now? Am I, am I clearer?
a little. Go ahead.
Okay. The paradigm, I think, is the shift from the assumption that will give a better result.
Okay, thank you so much. Not thank you. All right, Mr. Fidelix, is your thought coming out now?
Sorry, can I hear the question again? Can I hear the question again? You said the difference between paradigms and
Yes, intentionally at the beginning of the lecture, there were philosophical assumptions, and we have mentioned so many assumptions, you know, guiding the principles of qualitative research. Okay, and
okay.
thereafter, they were what? They were
Paradigm.
paradigms. Good. There were
Paradigms.
paradigms, and I gave us three different,
Yes, sir.
paradigms guiding the philosophical assumption. And the question is that what is the correlation? Okay. Let me just hop here.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Study Radinike from nursing.
Adenike, go ahead.
Okay, sir. I want to say that philosophical assumptions They are like assumptions that form the foundation of the research paradigm, and they explain how the researcher view reality, knowledge, value, and the research process as a whole.
Thank you.
While the paradigm itself is the overall um, framework that guides the research.
Thank you.
So the philosophical assumption now shape or determine the paradigm a researcher adopts.
Good. Good. That's good. I'm happy at least some people still got it very well. You are very correct. I'm very happy we did that. Now let's take it this way. Let's take it this way. In case you are the types that can that
Okay, so
gets.
can I try?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the research paradigms, I think, is the worldview that combines philosophical assumption
Good.
with methodological approaches.
Good. That's another way. I like both of you. The way you have brought that in. Good. Now let me go this way. Take it this way. Please mute your profile. With let's just conclude this way. For those of you who may still be struggling with it, you have a tree, and you have branches and you have leaves. The tree itself, the tree here, the tree we are talking about. We want to describe a tree. The tree is the qualitative research, and the branches that hold the leaves are actually the philosophical paradigms. Within the tree, we have some philosophical paradigms called assumption, and there are three. Everything you do, every leaf you collect within that tree, fall into any of these branches. There are three branches within the tree. There's no major, there's no minor, by the way. In terms of tree, it can only be in terms of branches in a tree, it can only be bigger and the smaller branch. If you are standing on a smaller one, you will end up on the floor immediately. And if you are standing on a very strong one, you will still be standing still. So here there is no one that is more important to the other one. They are all paradigms and they are branches. So we have the constructivism, we have the interpretivism, and we have the critical theory. Within these three branches of qualitative research, then we have the what? The assumptions. Any of the leaf that falls on the floor or that you decide to pluck from the tree is tied to these any of the branches. For instance, let's take the first one, constructivism. Reality is constructed by individual knowledge. We explained that. What you face is reality is individualistic and not what? Not generalistic. Okay? We explained the issue of pain. You can't say, okay, the more parental pain, childbirth pain is from the back. Your own can be from the back, madam. Other people's own may start from their own nose. This is individualistic. You lost someone and you cried throughout. Another person, the same day he lost someone, you see the person on the street. And thank God, someone gave us an idea earlier from the health that it is what? Defense mechanism. Yeah. And if care is not taken, that defense mechanism is very destructive. That person will end up in a depression level if you don't express what's wrong with you and people sees it and console you or give you something that can cushion the effect. I hope this is better clarity than before. Let me know, please. Is that better than before?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. It's better.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. So, in this class, one thing you should know is that, please, you have paid your school fees, and we are not here by the grace of God. I have spent 10 years teaching this course. Please ask questions. I have taken a number of you before. If it's not clear, Mr. Fidelis knows that very well. We will not go forward. It's not about, in this class, it's not about filling up the content. I have very people too. Mrs. Adenike is there. I think I taught her also in her. I may not have taught her in MSc, but I was her methodologist. So I've
Yes,
known
so
her
he
for a
taught
long
me
time.
so.
So I've
Taught
known
me
her.
first degree, second degree.
You can see I've known her a long time. So it's not about I don't mark. We don't mark content. We mark what knowledge, wisdom. You must understand, and I will use every techniques to ensure that you understand this, and I drive you home. It's not getting 2, 3 people in the class and I say, "Do you understand?" No, it's not about that. And also, when you ask question, it's not a class that I say, "Where is this woman, this man coming from? Is it from the law school? Oh, no wonder they don't deal with number." No, we don't do that here. We must. I'm actually a chauffeur, a driver. I must take every one of you home. I don't drop you on. I can't drop you on the wayside, and that is what a teacher is. The definition of a teacher is I'm a driver. You are my passengers, and I can never drop any of you by the wayside, except you chose to drop yourself. So anyway, let's go on to the.
Sorry, sir, excuse me, sir. Tell you Adenike
Excuse.
from nursing.
Go ahead.
I want to ask, apart from these three philosophical assumptions, constructivity, interpretivity, I've seen something like post positivism.
Very well. All right.
Yes.
You're very
Can we
correct.
still say that it is part of this philosophical assumption?
You are
So
very.
they are more than three.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When you
All
read,
right, sir.
I've just given you the major one. When you read, you will be able to place that where it belongs. Okay? That's
Okay.
why we need to read
All right.
this. You're correct. Now let's go into the
Thank you.
types of
Yeah,
qualitative growth.
it's my hand has been up.
Oh, sorry, Chidebere, always just speak. I can't see behind the screen. If I'm showing the screen, is I can actually do that, but it's likely. Let me try and see if it's actually blocking you. I have a tool I can bring on board here, but sometimes I feel it's blocking you, so I try to hide it. Okay, go ahead. By the way, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ibuna Chidibere from Computer Science. Okay, my question is targeted towards the similarity and the differences in qualitative and quantitative. All right. So when you were addressing the objectives, you said we use certain words: explore, understand, discover. There was one
Yes.
keyword you mentioned: interpret.
Yes.
Yes, I noticed that that interpretation is both similar in qualitative and quantitative because at the end of the day, when you have quantitative data, you still want to interpret your results. So
Hmm.
interpretation is similar in both ways, but also very different in such a way because I looked up the answer while I was trying to answer myself, and I can also answer that question by saying qualitative is more inductive. All right,
Good.
that is your responses, your interpretation is based on that theory that is created from these observations or the patterns you are seeing from the participants. But
Good.
quantitative is more deductive. That means you already have a top-down approach. You already have the hypothesis from the start, and you're trying to narrow it down to a general rule. So that's actually the difference and also the similarity. So that can fall in both as similarity and also as differences. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chidebere Ogbonna. I agree with you, and a slight disagreement comes into it by the very good logic I'm going to share. Is there anybody in the house who saw that disagreement who wants to point it out before I do? Okay. On the first, the disagreement is on the use of interpretation, right? Did you say interpretation?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Interpretation.
good, good. It's on the interpretation on the quantitative aspect. Interpretation is not a verb, it's not an active verb that can come out as your objective. It's actually embedded in the result if you understand the meaning of that. It cannot be listed as part of your objectives. However, when you are um, when you are evaluating, good. When you want to evaluate your results, you're actually interpreting. But what we use in quantitative is evaluation. Evaluate your results. Okay, that's just the slight difference there. It's embedded in quantitative, while in qualitative, it's used directly. You can use it on the objective. I hope you are clear with that.
Yes, I understand that.
All right, so let's go ahead. The first one we are trying to, there are actually five major. When I say major, just like Madam Adenike mentioned earlier, there are other assumptions that we can use. Yes, there are other minor ones such as feminine study under qualitative research. Some group of women came forward and formed that it's a female study. Yes, and others will come and tell you that action research is also part. Yeah, fine. But the major by Creswell established, which we are leaning on and expanding today, has to do with ethnography, phenomenology, grounded theory, historical research or narrative, and case study. I will take this one after the other to explain. Okay. All right. Before we go ahead, may I request that we go on 5 minutes recess? This is 10 o'clock, and the training is going to 11. So, gentlemen and ladies, this is 10:02 by my time. So, we expect to be back by 10:07. Is that okay with us?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yeah, thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank
So,
you, sir.
I'm going to pause.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to pause our recording now. Please, you can take your time, and let's be back at 10:07 or 08. Thank you. All right, the class has started. So as we mentioned earlier, we have five methods, and we are starting with, in no particular order, the ethnography, research design. However, ethnography is very interesting. In fact, it's one of my favorites there. I love the research design alongside the quantitative and the phenomenology. I hope you can hear me very well.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ethnography
Yes,
has
sir.
okay. Ethnography deals with researches that capture
Network is fluctuating.
cultural.
Network fluctuating.
Sorry, if your network is fluctuating, you can move to a better direction. But I think my network here is stable to a level. So it has to do with ethnography that captures the cultures of people. It focuses on the culture of people. The aim is to describe the nature of those who study through what? Who study through writing. You see something in a picture, and you can write on it. Very well. It's not something. It's a gift that you need to know how to discern it. I show you my photograph, you will know right there in if I'm happy or not, and you can write a lot about it. Not because you have seen me before, but because the picture deals with it. This is uh, culture of cultural writing. So now, if you see the photograph, the image beside this text, something is happening, and we're going to discuss very soon. Okay. So in types of, there are two types of ethnography. We have the macro ethnography that deals with a geographical extension of culture that cut across countries such as the British Empire, the Western, the Asian Empire, and their culture. And the other one deals with the micro, which means just within a very small local environment. So it may focus on more narrowly defined ones referred to as micro ethnography. For example, the culture of hostel for the homeless, for the nursing practice in intensive care unit. These are micro environment, not macro. Okay, these are the types of cultures. And from this picture, it is just the culture of the northern people. Someone said something was a myth last class. Well, I will share that with you if you also agree that it was actually a myth. The person said it's from Benue State, but let's look at the culture here. It's from the northern part of Nigeria. If you are matured enough to get married, okay, their culture is to have a cultural dance where your suitor, the lady you have been, eyeing, you have been speaking probably in private uh, corners and all that, will have to be seated with the parent and her friends to see how powerful the husband to be is in terms of pain threshold. So the only thing that will be is that you cover your the culture is that they don't even wear, they don't have clothes to cover their body. They only cover their private areas. And here you can see the man raising cane to flog the other man. Now the game is that if you can touch it, then you have lost that beautiful woman you have been looking forward to marry for life. Or you cry, or you rub it with your hand, or you run, then you are not matured enough to marry. So maturity in this context is pain threshold, not in resources capacity or for economic stability. It's your ability to be able to withstand the pain. That is the culture of their environment. And the moment you can withstand that, another person from the community shows interest, and the woman is gone for life. That is their culture. So if you have to write about this, how will you do it? There are so many procedures. You need a gatekeeper. You have to travel to that place to study their culture. You can't just get into their environment except somebody introduce you, and the person is called the gatekeeper in research. In all the you know five approaches that we have, we always have a gatekeeper who introduces you. Sometimes you have to pay money to get a gatekeeper function because it follows you, abandon whatever he's doing, and follows you about to give you the services that you need. And the gatekeeper in turns introduce you to the elders in the community and will they'll review your objectives to them. You meant no harm, this is what you are doing, and all that. And sometimes the gatekeeper will get resources to aid your research, and so on and so forth. And I will ask you a few questions later to share other cultural experiences that you think we still have in Nigeria today. And vis-a-vis a macro, we share basic micro and macro experiences. I'll look at some points here. As previously mentioned, there are two basic research approach in anthropology area, which is the emic and ethic. Okay, the emic approach is revolve, studying behavior from within the culture. Okay, emic has to do with behavior within, and the ethic, involves studying behavior from outside the culture. Okay, and examining the similarities and differences across this culture is what is observed. Okay, so let's get that. Let's look at the steps we have to follow in getting this ethnographic research done. When you identify a particular structure, a particular culture to study, identify the variables within. You do the literature review, then you have a gain entrance by having someone that will be the gatekeeper. Then you immerse yourself in the culture. And after immersing yourself, you acquire the information you need. You analyze the data, description of the culture. If there's any theory, you support it. And there you go. Now let's look at, before we go into the roles of the researcher that leads to advantages and disadvantages, let me hear from you some cultural practices that you feel that we can study in Nigeria as a micro culture. Can I hear from you, class? Hello? Oh, there are no cultural practices in your village that you can share with us or that you are aware of? I know a lot by virtue of traveling. Hello?
Yes, allowed.
Yes, I need your contributions. I hope you are flowing with the explanation of ethnographic research that has to do with capturing the culture of people.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, this is Dada Dedimoke from nursing.
Thank you, Madam
The
Dada.
culture of female genital mutilation
Okay.
across some
Hello, sir.
cultures in southwestern Nigeria.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So we still have that in practice. Male, do you say male or female? Oh, I think it's male. The one that was, yeah,
Female
yeah,
genital mutilation.
yeah, mutilation. The one that was eradicated was female. That we still have that, and as a matter of fact, it's still in practice till date. And one other thing that I will tell you that, let me share with you some countries that I know in the UK right now. Those they don't believe in male genital mutilation. However, they are beginning to do it at an adult age of 40, 45, 50. Why? Because it's actually they are having infection. So if it's actually causing a lot of health challenge to them at a later life, why not continue to have it at an earlier life? And you discover that this is not happening to Africans, except it's only happening to the Western world, and with specific emphasis to the European countries. So, meaning that this is still very, very good as the practice of Southwest. You said it's Southwest Nigeria? Well, I think, yeah, Southwest. In the northern part too of Nigeria, they don't do it. I've lived there, they don't do it. So, I agree with you, Southwest. Thank you. Any other cultural practice that we can discuss in class?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sally Adenike from nursing.
Okay.
I just want to do a little bit of correction.
Okay.
I think what Adejumoke is talking about is female genital mutilation. For
Oh,
the male, it's called male circumcision.
thank
There
you.
are two different things.
I agree with you. That's very correct. I agree with you because I was wondering mutilation. Yeah, good. It's not my area, so I couldn't differentiate that so much. Actually, I should have also known that by now. Thank you. I agree. It is male what? It is circumcision. Circumcision is still in practice, isn't it? Very well.
Yeah,
Yes,
that is
very well, sir.
it's
It
even
is.
biblical.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
It's biblical because of health reasons. I just substantiated that with you with what I know, with respect to what I've seen. All right. Thank you so much for that clarity. We continue to learn every day of our lives. All right. Can we share more
Okay,
cultural
sir.
practices?
In some of the culture, particularly in the East,
Yes.
they dedicate their first children to Python.
Hmm. Hmm.
That can be studied.
I very much. I've heard a lot of that. I don't want to be biased now, so I'm not going to mention state because I'm actually in the air. I know of some states, either middle belt or down there in the east where they don't. You can't kill snake. You can't kill it. They worship snakes, and they believe that snakes actually protect their community. So no matter how close they are to you, you can't kill them. And do you know why they are close to you? Well, I don't believe in that culture, but any animal that you don't kill, definitely they become your friend. Yeah, those of us who have traveled out in the UK, in the US, you see squirrel everywhere. You see antelope, even within the community. They would, almost get close to your house. You can't kill them because there's a law against it. So because there's a law against it, they see humans as friends and they come close to you. You are walking along the street, you see squirrel, you also walk past them. And a very, very example is Babcock University. Why those who kill them do, but you can't do that on the daylight. They will look at you as very, very. Where is this man coming from? From the bush that you leave your work and you be chasing squirrel. So as a result of that, squirrels will be walking on the road and you're also walking around because you dare not touch them. If you do, people will just see you as a barbaric and a village person. You don't have a work and all you do is to chase a squirrel to kill for what? For meat? etc. So that's why animals get very close to human beings because they see them as friends. All right. Do we have any other cultures that we like to share?
Hello,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello,
Yes.
hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Olubukola Olusada, Faculty of Law.
Thank you, Madam Lusada.
Okay. Yes. There is another culture, I think from the East, when your married wife, somebody you've not married to died, you have to conduct that marriage again. as if the person is alive with the dead person. It's barbaric.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, one thing. Let me just correct something here in class. Please don't condemn a culture.
As
Okay,
okay,
just say you don't believe in it.
I don't believe in it.
Good. I just told you one for the snakes. Non-clean of animals, and I said for snakes, it comes close to particular geographic location. I didn't mention names. I say I don't work. I don't believe in it. Yeah, don't. Know that is barbaric. Okay, they have their
Thank you
reasons. Thank you so much,
very well.
Madam Olubukola. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
sir.
very
Good
that's
morning,
very
sir.
correct. Good
Good
morning.
morning,
Yeah,
sir.
this is Nasiru, microbiology.
All right, let's hear from Nasru before we hear that female voice behind it. All right.
There's also one very particular to the western part of Nigeria, which is the rite of passage for kingsmen, which
Oh,
involves the consumption of a specific part of the previously deceased king
yeah.
by the current king who is about to take over from the throne.
I've heard about that, even though I
Yes,
don't know
it's
if that is actually true. I've heard it.
well for I'm from Edo State actually. I grew up here in the Yoruba land, and there
Okay.
is a lot of similarity in that trend in
Hmm.
terms of the shifts in position. While some okay, while it is the culture which we have
Hmm.
to respect, I
Hmm.
must comment on certain form of unforeseen what I call it, medical conditions that can be transferred
Hmm.
along that line for
Hmm.
years. Although 2 years ago, there's a law that was implemented that involves the recreation of that particular old tradition.
Hmm.
It was tried when the last king of the late king of Ikweremo passed
Hmm.
on. That was, I think, last year or so, but the result was quite interesting. So now the law was abolished again and brought back to where it has always been.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, so that happened last year. So I
Hmm.
think, to me, I feel like something should be done about it. There should be a better passage right
Hmm.
than that.
Hmm. Thank you so much. I think that's why we can study the culture and give our recommendations. Okay. Remember, one of the reasons why when you say when you have to do this, which we are learning now, it's something like Bukola from law came up earlier. If you have to study that, now that bias, you need to keep it. You need to hang it. It's what we call bracketing. You need to keep it and say, okay, I have this bias. I don't accept it. I don't believe in it. So that when you are giving your result, if your result is now positive, it's not affecting your bias. Okay? You need to set it aside. You need to keep it in your writing. It has to be in your thesis. This is your level of acceptability, and it's part of research. So we will study more on that as we go ahead. Thank you so much. Well, I agree to what you have said. I have heard so much about it. I don't know how real they are, but that's life, and life continues. Yes. Can we hear? Was a female that was trying to speak earlier. Can we hear a
Yes,
voice?
Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Ade
Ah,
Mary. Ade
Okay, we
Mary
have
from
it. All
Public
right,
Health.
all right. Let's take it this way. We have a lot of you. Let's hear Ademiri. Come on board.
Okay, sir. There is a practice in the northern east. I will not mention the name, but I see that whenever they have festive period or any occasion, they try to share their wife with their visitor.
Yeah, I'm going to mention the
Are
name.
you?
I'm going to mention that
I don't
very
want to
well.
mention the name.
Don't worry.
So
It's
they share their wives with either they don't I will not mention it with anybody, any male friend, in order
mm,
to complement and with at the detriment of the health of the family, the health of the
mm,
wife, even invading the man.
mm,
So at that stage, I'm not in agreement because
yeah. Mm,
it keep on affecting the health of both because whatever comes into the into the health into the body of the woman, also certainly the husband will also partake in it. So
very
I'm
well.
in disagreement with that.
Very well. I agree with you. I have heard, and that was a culture. I'm going to mention it because someone said so last in okay in my regular class we teach. She said she's from Benue, Nasarawa, and precise and all that. That is actually a myth. That it was never in practice. Then it keeps me wondering, how can this be a myth and be published? I read this, and I have friends. Okay, I'm not saying that people who are from there are actually promiscuous, but it's a culture that when you have visitors, in order to ensure that your visitor have a nice your friends, enjoy his stay. Part of the benefit is that you keep his bed warm throughout the night by giving any. It could be provided, in those days, our parents have many wives, and Benue State is known for his what? Is um, is its farming is a fruit of the nation, basket of the nation precisely. So they are known for their farming, extensive farming activities. So, and if you want to really do well, for those who don't have money for capital intensive agriculture, you have many wives with many children. So they have enough sufficient wives. Okay, so it doesn't matter the moment you are not on their, even if you are on their timetable for that night, they can shove you off to ensure that the friend, get entertained. And the funny thing is that the second day they will ask you, I hope you enjoy your night and So, however, someone actually came for last class that, sir, this is a me too. I'm from here. Well, I don't know how to do this. Just like I said, we read this. The one on issue of eating the past, leadership before you can emerge the current leader. You have to eat a particular part. We hear, we don't know. I've never had a friend who went there and come back and tell me that yes, I tasted it. Of course, I don't know if it's something they share publicly. So anyway, let's leave that aside. That's a practice that we have read about. Okay, and health-wise. Today we don't even hear of HIV again. The other cancer has taken the order of the day. That's the world challenges that we have around us. All right. Do you have any other cultures that would like to make
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Then
Yes,
we'll be moving
sir.
forward. Let's
Yes,
share
sir.
briefly. All right.
Sex
Something
discrimination.
something to speak.
Sex discrimination. Some culture prefer the male children or male child than the female,
That's
and
also a
so
culture.
they do
It's
not
true.
take cognizance or value the female gender.
Hmm. That's serious. That's serious. Anyway, that's an opinion. Hmm. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Do you have
Yes,
yes?
Shall we?
honesty of child brides of
Nigeria.
Hello. Come again. Someone should take the lead, please.
this is Vivian answering.
Okay,
Hello.
Vivian. Vivian, go ahead.
We have the issue of child brides in certain parts of Nigeria. And even though we have the Child Rights Act that has been passed by the National Assembly, because we operate a federal structure in Nigeria, certain states have not domesticated, this act because it's at variance with their cultures. And so we find out that young young girls at 13 are given up in marriage, which is against our laws.
Hmm. Thank you so much. You can see. How can we let's change this mode of question now. We've heard so many of these, and should this continue forever? The answer is no.
No.
Good. For example, the one that has to do with health. You gave your wife out, and the second day the same wife, and the unfortunate thing, even is it an open thing that no protection, and it's possible. The second day you will be the person on in the same operation again, and you think life continues, and by or large you fall sick and transmission here and there. It's something we can actually defend if we do a research on these areas, depending on the level of our field. For example, we studied about an issue. One of the examples we gave was physical violence. The lawyers are here. I know this may have got reduced to a certain level, but you can actually still x-ray this if it falls within the jurisdiction of your practice. The same thing, the health people, you can take up the issue of the transmission of giving you my best partner overnight. So these are reasons why this research are carried out. Okay, this cannot continue forever. Also, living with a dangerous animal overnight that you don't know, before you know it, it creeps under your bed, under your duvet. You are sleeping with a cold animal. Oh God, have mercy. I don't know if I'm not going to leave the entire room that night or the entire house. Okay, so these are issues you dream, and your dream is nothing but you are on the sea swimming with something. So these are things we can actually still pick up, even though most of them have died down in extinct because of the research that people have done. And that's why you need to do researches on this issue. Why should I have to show the strength of my love to a woman I want to marry by the threshold of the pains that never came from God? Why my love should be expressed emotionally on economic value, on my resources to be able to cater for her and her family. Okay? On my ability to be able to do that by the virtue of the training that I've gone through or the virtue of the training that I'm going to get through to. Ability to be patient and to be able to care for one another. So these are things that we should do. Okay, now let's look at, before I will call for contributions again, let's look at the roles of researcher in ethnographic research, the advantages and disadvantages. Then we can go on that level. The researcher is the primary data collection tool. Know that for ethnography, you are involved, and you enters the world for an extended period of time, asking questions, observing, participating, and collecting whatever data are available. You don't read from books. So ethnography researcher is by participation. And that's why I kept mentioning the issue of you want to find out why incantations are done. You want to find out why babalawos will enter their shrine from the back. Why not from the front? You want to go and they will say, that is how I met it from my great-grandfather. You want to go and follow them. Yeah, you be sure you follow them and interpret. But be sure what you are following, that by the time you are done, 3-4 months, you will not begin to operate like that. And if you do, that's the outcome of your research. This also seek inferences from their observation and test these inferences over time with their population until they are confident they have an adequate description of the culture. So it's not something you do in a day and you say, yes, you have your result. No, you have to continue to show these inferences, and you must set aside what? Biases, and explicate what? Beliefs. Yes, I don't believe in it. Set it aside. For you to go into the research, gentlemen and ladies, you must believe in it. I'm not saying, yes, you don't. Put the don't somewhere. When you are out of the research, if you are able to pick the don't again, God help you, you will pick it. But the moment you are going into a particular research, you must believe in it. Otherwise, you won't get a good result out. That's something we should know. So if you don't believe in a research and you cannot cope with the believing symptoms or syndrome that you will wear, please don't go into such research. We have had people who went into studying why people going into night crawling and they end up being a night crawler. Same thing, people trying to find out why certain things are happening. I don't want to mention some things on air here. And yet they end up being participants whole 100%. So please, if you don't believe, don't go there, because you end up being the person rather than being the reporter. Advantages. It creates possibility for relationship. I've mentioned that. You'll be very careful to go into some research that you won't have relationship out of it. If you are married, you want to find out why certain things happen. I hope you won't end up having 2 wives before you get out of that research. Ethnography provides a rich source of visual data and helps to reveal unarticulated needs. That was mentioned. I show you a picture, you can tell me a lot about it. Ethnography captures behavior in the different contexts of everyday life. It places a human face on data through real life stories that teams can relate to and remember. Ethnography provides understanding behind statistics. It allows emotional behavior to be captured. Disadvantages strongly investigate, it actually investigates complex issues. Avoid, a voice for what? Is a voice for understanding. It is expensive and difficult, and there are ethical issues. I've mentioned so many things about ethics. You don't believe, don't go into it. You don't have a wife, or you have a wife and you are studying something that has to do with attraction, feelings. Before you know it, you begin to visit each other. And from research, you migrate to something else. So there are ethics involved. And if you are not willing to go, please don't just dance around it. I have a proverb in my area that says something you are not willing to eat, don't bring it close to your to your nose to see how it smells. That's very, very evident. Okay. Let's see some example. We'll just share one here. Then from there you can ask your question. Now I want to study something. There's a restaurant somewhere in Nigeria in Ikorodu. The man believes that the coordinator of that restaurant believes that his presence actually controls a lot of economy. And the moment he's not around, they don't make enough money. So he wants to really know, is it are they working the staff he has there, are they working based on his presence or not? So how does he want to do that? So that's what this example is talking about. An ethnographic study to assess the life at the restaurant. The main focus of this study is to compare norms of the workers when head supervisor is present at the restaurant and when she is absent. The floor is open. How can you do this research? Hello, class.
Yes, sir, we're here.
How can you carry out this research?
Can you carry out this research?
Contributions now.
Sorry,
Maybe
sir,
you
please, can
recap
you
that.
repeat the question? I had
Exactly.
a break in transmission.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Maybe you recap that.
can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, sir.
It's
Yes,
actually
sir.
it's on my screen. I just transform into a local community. I'm saying that assuming this, it's an ethnography study to study, to assess the life at a restaurant. The main focus of the study is to compare norms, activities of the workers when head supervisor is around or when she's not around, when she's absent. What happens when she's around compared to what happens when she's the supervisor is the head or when she's not around. And I try to illustrate this to a locality in Lagos where you eat regularly. And you go there frequently when the supervisor is around, everybody's on his or her toe. Or you go there some other times when the supervisor is not around and just you'll be standing for 10 minutes, nobody attends to you. It's an assumption, okay? But the major thing we want to know is that what is the norms, activities of worker when head supervisor is present at the restaurant and when she is absent. So how can we? It is actually an
Hello, sir.
it's a culture, it's the norms. Yes, thank you.
Hello, sir. My name is Edith Ignumba. I
Thank you.
think this research can be carried out by observation and interaction. The researcher will have to go there over a period of time. When the supervisor is around, we will go there over a period of time, take note and see the proceed of the sales, how much they have made, then also interact with the customers to find out how they are being served when the supervisor is around, kind of record their feelings and their experiences. Then again, over a period of time, when the supervisor is not around, the researcher will also have to go there and do the same thing. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to know and find out if the sales are more when the supervisor is around or when she's not around. I think it basically is by interviews and observation, interviewing the customers and observing the conduct of the sales people in the restaurant. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Madam Edith. Thank you. Can we have more contributions? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Adewumi from my
My name is
contact.
Sasha.
Approach
Okay,
is for the
Madam
researcher
Adewumi, Madam
to
Adewumi,
be
I'll come back to you.
Okay. Okay.
Someone should take the lead.
I was going to say, sir, that in support, my name is Babatunde Oshikoya.
Okay.
Love. I want to even put my own response in support of the first speaker that to be able to carry out such research, the researcher might need to get him or herself employed at that restaurant. Because coming when they open and going when they close and all the stuff, she might not be able to capture all the information required to make a proper research. But if she's involved or embedded for a certain period in the restaurant, you'll be able to interview the customers, interview the fellow workers, and even most stylishly interview the proprietor, get all the information he or she requires to be able to prepare a proper, to gather the proper data for the research.
I agree absolutely with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm just giving the floor open so that we can all contribute. And I very much agree with your explanation. Yes, it has to be involved and embedded. Earlier, the other contributor, Madam Okere, is it Okere, mentioned that she will interview, and I was wondering. Well, I know it's just we're just beginning to know how to do this. The moment they see you that you are not part of them, they will hide their character, their trait. All right, the moment they will hide it. So if you are remember the issue of the cultures of sex no grade in Nigerian university, how were they caught? These who came to investigate register as students, they never knew them, and they were actually caught red-handed. You have to be part of them. You have to register that you are eating there every day, and you are part of them. Before you know it, the character will come out. That's one process. Yeah, any other means of getting to know what really happened behind the curtain.
Good morning, sir. Once again,
Good morning,
it
sir.
may be
Okay.
as a result of the hygienic. Um, Probably maybe when the supervisor is not around, the way the environment look like, the way the workers dress, may also reduce the sales. So I see it as an interview that both the the owner of the restaurant and the worker can both be interviewed on that of the health, the surrounding, the environment, and also the eating habits. This also can contribute to the low sales of that restaurant. Thank you.
Okay, just to clear some things there. Thank you so much. I want you to get this very clear. We are not asking for to determine level of sales. No, we are trying to see if there is an eye service, what we call eye service in Nigerian in our local context. Okay, meaning that services are not optimized. Okay, optimization of service when the supervisor is around compared to when she is not around, which we call eye service. Is there an eye service? That's what we want to find out. I hope
Yes,
you
sir.
understand better now.
Yes,
So
sir. Good morning,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
the question is that how do we
Thank
do
you, sir.
this? How do we do this? How do we do this? That's the question. How can we
Good
find
morning,
out?
sir.
Thank you.
Live
Good
CCTV.
morning.
Thank you,
Live
sir.
CCTV.
Lawal speaking from Nursing Department, sir.
Okay, thank you, Lawan.
Yes, sir. So if I am to conduct such research, it's all about exploring the attitude of the staffs when the boss is there and when the boss is not there, their attitude to work.
So how do you want to do that?
So, although it's via observation, I'm going to at least collect data. So to enable me achieve that, I will have to either be part of the staff. I can apply that I want to work there, or I want to pick that center as a place I come to eat, so that they won't have to know that I am trying to, gather information about their attitude to work. So I'll have to put myself in there as a temporary staff, a sales girls, that I'll have to be like them.
Thank you so much, Lawal. I agree with you. Is there any other method that we have not?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
So
sir.
from that, I
Good
can
morning,
just
sir.
Another, my name is Julius Jones from Faculty of Law.
Good.
I think another approach to this is because there is no way you get a very good conclusion without being involved in what is happening there. So another dimension to it is registering to, registering to always come there to eat often. Probably give yourself maybe within 1 or 2 months.
Okay.
This you first of all identify their peak period, and then always come within that peak period and make your own field investigation of what is happening there, and then with that you'll be able to critically be able to understand what is happening, more especially during the period when their head supervisor is around and when he's not around, be able to have a personal conclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my lord.
Yes, sir.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning, sir. Good
Yes,
morning,
sir.
sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
All right.
Good morning, sir.
Let's hear the voices of the female
Okay,
now.
Okay.
okay. Good morning, sir. So
Yes.
another approach that I can use is to disguise. I might not be the one to go by myself, so I might employ the is it the use of research assistants, maybe 5 or 10 people that might have to go there on different occasions. They don't know them. They don't just for you to be sure of their actions regarding eye service. So if unknown people are going as normal people to just go and buy food on different occasions, so the reactions or whatever reactions they get, those people might come back to come and report to me, and from there you will know, you might be able to get their real natural reactions or natural actions and how they work. So I think that's another method that I can use.
Now, I don't. You didn't conclude to us. Your research assistants, what are they going there for? To eat or to be workers? You didn't conclude, or to be
No,
cleaners.
okay, the research to eat, to buy food, and then during that period, the those people might study them when it comes to the use of phone during attending to patients, or being aggressive to patients, or wasting
Yeah.
increased time
That's very clear.
attend.
I
Yes, sir.
just want we just want to know what they are going for. That's very clear. Thank you so
Yes, sir.
much. All right. And
Yes,
now the
sir.
male voice. Now the male voice. Which is the
Yes,
last
sir.
one? Which is the last one?
Obuna Chidiburi from Computer Science. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
Yes.
Continue. After this,
Okay.
we get the next one. Another male is still behind. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So participant observation. Yes, we have said earlier that we would immerse ourselves with that environment, either by becoming a staff or something. But the
Okay.
part I wanted to add was comparison of norms. So here you have to separate variable A with variable B. Variable A is how the residents behave when that official is around, that salesperson is around. And variable B will be when no official is around, what are their states, or how do they behave? So all these things are recorded in a field notes. We put it as in a field diary, where all these formal responses and observations are going to be stated there for the comparison to take effect. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. All right. There's another struggling male
Yes, sir.
voice. All right.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. This is Nasiru on the line. This is Nasiru, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now, from experience, I would say this. While we consider eye service to be one of the major key factors that play a significant role in sales when it comes to most of all these histories and co. We need to understand that in the context of this particular question, and even in the real world scenario, the question is always timed into the availability of the supervisor. Now, there is no reason why a supervisor will be at the work. Most times, no reason why a supervisor will be at the workplace when sales are not at a particular peak. At every time, at every point in time in every day of the week, there are specific periods where sales always increase, especially in the evening when people are coming back from work, and in the morning when people are branching to pick something that they can take as a breakfast at their working place. So, of course, the supervisors will be there. Now, the presence of the supervisor may influence, and may not even influence the rate at which the people actually work. So eye service here in the context here is a function of what you observe at the peak period. That was why I loved what somebody said previously, that it was going to go in there and get employed and work there. You realize that when the sales drop, it's not because most times the supervisor is not there. It's because at that point in time, they are not in their selling period. I mean, they are not in their selling phase. The peak period has not yet arrived. But the moment it's in the peak period, yes, pressing of phone, listening to music, getting distracted, wasting of time, most of all those things are cropped down because even the workers know that they are at their peak period. So the best way to approach this research is either sending somebody there to get employed and be in that particular work environment for a stipulated period of time, maybe 3 months or so, or even you yourself as a researcher going in there to get employed there. But however, you need to understand, just like the previous speaker said, you need to understand the dependent and the independent variables that actually influences the rate of sales. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nasir. You've said a very laudable point. All right, gentlemen and ladies, I thought I would be able to capture this point. All the same, I will still introduce this before we call it a day. It's been a wonderful experience together. Now, one other point I was expecting, especially the computer science or the tech savvy people to come up, which is ethically acceptable, is the installation of camera. That solves all this problem. Now, however, there's a
CCTV,
caveat.
yes.
There's a there's a caveat to this. There's a
Prof,
caveat.
you caught us on guy.
Yes, there's a
I
caveat.
see the
Ah,
title.
that is true.
Yeah, there's
Another
a
way to get that data, yes.
yeah, but there's a caveat. There's an ethical issue that we must solve because no matter how civilized we are in the country today, you see cameras. There are places you can't see camera. You can't see camera in restrooms. You can't see cameras in the toilet. In washrooms and all that. It's not ethical. For you to be able to install camera in in the history, you need to get the supervisor's attention. He has to sign it that I support it. It's only the supervisor that can know because you are trying to help him, okay, to know what happens when he's not around. Even though we are not considering factors of when peak period, like Nasiru mentioned, which is another research on its own, very, very good. I hope you understand. You can install camera, but you need the consent of the owner of the business. Then once he gives you the consent, and another thing is that the camera must not be visible. Once it is visible by any of the staff, they walk and walk and walk against the
Don't
camera.
end with that.
And
Your
they walk
research
against
is
the camera and do their things when the camera cannot, where the camera is not available, or they do things to jeopardize the non-functionality of that camera. Okay, all right. I hope we can continue from there. One other research design we have to introduce, we won't conclude this today, is what we call phenomenology. Now, phenomenology is a lived experience. When we say lived experience, let me use the word locally now, someone that has outlived a particular challenge. When I say lived experience, means that you did not die in the experience. You went through an experience and you can tell the story. And locally, we come to your level, and I say someone who is telling the story of what he went through, meaning that the challenges you went through did not claim your life. That is what we call lived experience. So it describes the meaning of the lived experience about the concept or phenomenon for several individuals. It has roots in the philosophical perspective of Husserl. Okay, as mentioned there, he also seeks to achieve a deep understanding of the phenomenon by rigorous systematic examination of a particular purpose. Its purpose is to describe essence of lived experiences. Okay, and a particular example is that lived experiences are not something that you read on paper. It's something that the word in our locality, has embedded meaning that, you know, baffles me a lot. You say, I saw it with my koro koro eye. Man, that's deep. Meaning that it is not them say, you were there. And stories that you witness is so deep that no matter how people are, recanting it, it is only what you saw that makes meaning. And sometimes that is why phenomenology is something that has to do with lived experience. If you are telling stories, there are possibilities of things to happen. Either most times it's even positive, not negative, especially for those who are erudite in storyteller, who are vocal, who can talk a lot. They will always add to it. They will not deduct from the experience. They will add to it. They will not. It's not going to be minus. It's going to be positive all the time. They continue to ensure that the stories are acceptable by the community by taking the story to a level that it never, happened. But for someone who is an eyewitness, it is not something that he was told. It's something that it happened. You had a near-death accident from an accident, a ghastly car accident, but you came out unharmed. How will you be able to share that story? Yes, a cancer patient, breast cancer, detected on time. It was either the lump was removed or the breast was eliminated to allow you to live your life expectancy. Will you be able to share that? You went through the rigors of the treatment of cancer and you came out alive. After 10 years you are still living, 20 years still living. That is a lived experience. Those who went through the World War II, I'm not sure any of them are alive today. Therefore, that can never be a lived experience again. Okay, let me ask you a question. The time is over. Let's just close with a question. We'll continue from there next week. Questions, contributions to what you have gained today. Are there troubles, on clear areas that you want us to, get clarity on? Our time is 11 o'clock, and I wouldn't want to spend more of your time on this issue.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Olubukola Olusada, Faculty of Law. So I'm a bit for somebody who joins this class today. So
Yes.
what is the hope for that person?
Hope
And
in
cannot
terms
really
of what,
understand
Bukola? Hope in
all.
terms of what?
What did you say, sir?
I say hope in terms of what?
Okay, like the person cannot really understand that like that. What can the person do?
Okay. One of the things that would have cut you off, and that's why I envisage and I emphasize in recording all my lectures henceforth. You can Google my name on the channel on YouTube. Take my name
Okay.
out on YouTube. All the lectures.
Okay.
All the first lecture we had was last week, and
Very well.
the moment I uploaded it, I shared the link with you. And if
Okay.
you and it's still up there, you don't even need to download. Just go there. If you want to download to save your data, you can. Please go there. And besides the qualitative um, research that we embark on, there are statistical SPSS, other trainings that I have also uploaded on the YouTube. But I won't advise you to go through that training except you go through the rudiment. The only thing you can see, I cannot point out to you, which is going to manifest very soon, is the 911. I don't have 911 recording. Not that I have not recorded before, but I have never had the privilege of actually creating a channel that rolls this, frequently. But right now, I think I'm at the peak of that. All my online interactions will continue to be, uploaded on the YouTube. So for last week lecture is there, and the hope of
Okay.
understanding is that we never had any lecture before now. The only lectures that you may have missed is research proposal and writing, and you will still do it. You will still do it,
Very
even if you
well.
read or you watch the interaction in class between me or other lecturers that we normally take this Professor Tayo and Grace Tayo and Dr. Anna Kuro, you will still have to take the class to be able to have a credit in it or a distinction in it as applied to your commitment. So you have not missed anything.
Me so much. Okay. So another thing I want to ask, I'm sorry, is that
This is
how will the exam look like? Is it going to be like the scenario you painted about a restaurant, or is it going to be like a theory that you answer? I'm sorry, I'm from Faculty of Law. I need to
Bukola, don't be sorry.
understand.
Please, when you're in my class, I've told you several times, it's
Okay.
not a place to be sorry, please.
All right. Thank you, Zama.
Yeah, please, it's a place to, please, those who are here, I have the likes of Chidi Ebere, who has been my student. I have the likes of Mr. Fidelix, and so Nike Adeniji, and Lawal, and so many others that I may not see you face to face right now. Please,
Okay.
it is, you're at home.
Well, thank you.
Your exam is just a minor part of this course, unfortunately. The
Okay.
biggest part is what we are going through, which is 50 points. By the time you finish your presentation, it's 50. What will you present? Don't bother about that. It will come out.
Okay.
By the time I continue to give you the assignment, the direction is going to come out. The exam is just 30 points. If you pass the exam and you fail to present all that you'll be doing very soon, you will not graduate this course. And to go straight to the question you ask, how is the nature of the exam? The nature of the exam is just the nature of the way we are discussing. You saw the scenario of the restaurant. Yeah, like the exam comes in that way.
Okay.
It comes in that way. And for those who have done my exam before, they will tell the exam. It's very rare for us to set in this class that define. No, we don't. There are so many things to look for I may even ask you, looking at the screen, I may ask you to explain to me what's going on here. It's the definition, but it's not in. I'm not asking you to define. So we are not. It's a way to test our logic understanding of the course.
Okay.
Okay. So it's
Thank
not
you.
the exam. The way the lecture, is being captured, is the way the exam will also be captured. We test both the logical thinking and the physical, critical enumeration of things that we also will see. Okay.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any other contribution,
Hello, sir.
ladies?
Please,
Yes.
Good morning,
yes,
sir.
I have a question, sir.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Earlier on, sir, you stated that before we can carry out the research, we have to. My name is Edith Ibinova. You
Thank
say
you.
we have to believe in the research. Please, I don't know what you mean by believing in the research.
Okay, good. Uh, do you believe in the okay, earlier on, I think it was Bukola. Sorry, Bukola, that I have to mention this. Apologies if it's not it didn't go well with you. Bukola mentioned earlier that what was that? Okay, okay, barbaric. I've forgotten the assignment. The Can you remind us again? There was something. I've forgotten the.
That the culture was barbaric.
Yeah, which
Sir,
culture?
she
Can
was
you
like,
can you
Bukola
mention
was like,
the
in
culture? The
that
culture
there's
is
a
what?
culture that practice like you have not yet legally married the woman and the woman
Okay,
died, and they
good.
will
Thank
now
you.
ask you to
Thank
come
you,
and pay
Lawal.
the bride
Thank you,
price.
Lawal.
Yes, sir.
We don't have
That is
time.
barbaric practice.
You have triggered my memory. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll do a lot about that. Thank you so much. That is it. She doesn't believe in it. If you ask Bukola, will Bukola go into that cultural practice? Yes, she can go into it. Remember, she doesn't believe in it. And that is why she's going to use the whole power, the entire resources she has to ensure that she dissuade people from going into it. However, non-believing in it will be hanged somewhere in her house before she leaves for the research. She doesn't believe in it. Very okay. That is very, very, very correct. However, she has to believe that she is going to positively influence the people to dissuade from going through it. And when she's in the field, she's not going to throw her lack of belief to people. No, she's not the one motivating people to speak. She's going to just ask them friendly. on the experiences they are going through. Okay. Another concept is that, um, which I want to use, is the issue of the night crawler. Yes, you hate it. You abhor the issue totally. It is unethical and all that. But you want to carry out a research to ensure that people don't go out looking for money when they can use their knowledge, their skills, and their hand to make more money that will not destroy them before their time. You didn't believe in it. You have to keep that aside. Now you are going outside because you believe that you can make a positive change. That is the believing. That is the immersion that we are talking about. That is the belief concept that we are talking about. And when you are going to make the changes in the society, you are not going to criticize those who are there. You are not going to call them a shawo, the local language, permit me to use that on air. You are going to treat them as human beings, fundamental right to live and to make money. That is the belief you have. So you will not judge them in any way. You don't judge. You keep your judgment at home. And by the time you finish your research, you can then wear the garment of your judgment again. But your results must be published based on the result that you have collected. So your believing in it is the power to make a change, not the power to pass judgment to making the change. I hope that is very clear. The
Yes, sir.
question
Thank you,
is
sir.
pressing.
Sir, my name
Hello,
is
sir.
Blessing.
Hello, Prof.
Blessing from
Yes.
microbiology, sir.
Sorry, I don't know. I
Yes, sir.
want
Sir,
to
I want
sign
to,
up because I'm
Oh,
going to a
I want to
Mr.
ask you,
Fidelis,
sir.
just
Sir, if
a
you
little,
are,
be patient. Mr. Fidelis, be patient. Let's hear this man from
yes, sir. Sir,
microbiology.
my name is
Go on.
Blessing from microbiology, sir. Thank you for the lecture, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, if you are working on a research that is similar to culture, and you are trying to make your findings, and the leader of that particular culture now told you not to carry out a research on it. Sir, at that point, sir, what should we do? Should we step down?
Uh, well, I think, class, what will you do if your gatekeeper said it's a no-go area? What will you do, gentlemen and ladies?
I will step back.
I will step back. Oh, if you don't step back, anything can happen.
Back.
Anything can happen if you like your life. Why is it a do or die affair? Research
I
is
went
not.
down.
It's not a do or die affair. Going to school
Not
is.
at all. Oh.
It's
That's
very
the
dangerous.
reality, sir.
Yes. He said, don't enter this. He said, okay, let me share an experience I had years ago when I was in the north. I didn't actually know that there's what we call, those of you who have been there, Bashiga, no entrance. I didn't see that when I was entering the compound. I was actually following somebody. And it was actually an embargo. You don't enter anywhere where you see that. Because especially when you are a male person, they believe that anything can happen. Their wives don't leave the house. I entered that place and I saw this man's eye. Jesus Christ. From the look I saw, I knew he was serious. He could do anything. I quickly ran back. Okay? So, will you stay when someone say it's an embargo, no go area, and you want to go? For what? Is it what are you? Is it not the living that can make a change, not the dead? So, my brother, I will shake my shoe, even though it's even biblical. I will shake off my shoe and pick race if that's what is acceptable locally language. Okay? And if there are other communities, go there that is acceptable or other research areas. It is not an end to life. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Fidelis, do you still want to have the floor before we close?
Yeah, Prof. I wanted to ask if I can sign up
Thank you,
because I'm
sir.
going to Edition now to see if I can see me Chapo seminar.
Okay, I can't hear you.
I said I'm going to Elision now. I want to start going to Elision.
Okay,
Because my second lecture is physical. If I
okay.
can still miss Chapo seminar.
Oh, okay. Actually, you should have even, if you have such
Yes.
next time, you should have even been in school while you, or yeah, stay in school while you.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, but
Take
the network in
connect
school is very
online.
bad. That's why I attend the lecture at home. In
Oh,
school, I
sorry.
always have difficulty.
Yeah, sorry. I think I agree with you. All right. Let's close. Let's close so that we can make. You can make. It is going to be okay.
Thank you,
The
sir.
Lord will bless us, and I wish you a wonderful week, everybody. Bye bye.
Amen. Same here,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you,
Amen,
Thank you
sir.
so
sir.
much, sir.
Appreciate, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
sir.
sir.